what's an S adjective? Surreptitious Sunday morning.
Beautiful, you nailed it. That's exactly the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, let's look the definition up on that really quick. Surreptitious, kept secret, especially because it would not be approved of. Okay, well, that's not the right word, but you know what? We're here anyway. What's up, everybody? My name is Adef. This is PB Precipice, the show all about runners on the verge of a PB, and we are joined by my good friend Dangers. We'll get into that in just one second. We've got some announcements. If you missed out on any of Summer Games Done Quick 2023 or our amazing Juneteenth celebration, be sure to check out the VODs on youtube.com/gamesdonequick. Gamers, we're back. It's been a while for me streaming and GDQ-wise, and we're joined by my good pal, Dwight D. Dangers.
That's what they call me.
That's what they say. Dangers, how are you?
On this serendipitous Sunday. How about that?
I think that's closer to good. I think
you're right.
That's closer.
Maybe a little bit more exuberant for me at 11 a.m. personally, but it's fine. We'll stick with that. I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Let's go with saucy. Let's go with saucy Sunday.
A little saucy Sunday.
That's how it feels when you go to church. It's a saucy Sunday.
Oh, absolutely. Every time.
When they give the wine. Yeah. Anyway, Dangers, what are you playing for us today? And I want to hear about a recent personal best that you achieved.
Okay, yeah, great. We're doing Super Mario Odyssey for my Nintendo Switch. Not yours, mine today. But we're doing any percent, which is like the fastest category, probably the zaniest category for just like optimization and some of the crazy routes that have been discovered for it. I actually just did this run on the main GDQ stage about a month ago for Summer Games Done Quick. It was a blast, it was a hoot, but also it was very nerve-wracking, and it was very, like, there was a lot going on, and I had to get into a chef outfit for a little while. So while that run was really fun, I think that today is going to be a better showcase of like what this game can look like when you are really focused and putting your optimization to the test. And I actually, after getting home from GDQ, was grinding this game down for a couple of weeks, and we got from a 5901 to a 5850 within that 3-week span. So we are improving, and you know, if you know anything about splits, if you know anything about like the way that speedrunners kind of keep track of their progress and stuff like that, my sum of best, which is to say like all of my best segments put together in like a beautiful time, is about a minute and a half better than my current personal best is. So there's a lot of wiggle room there. I have about a minute and a half of just like time that I can improve upon. Like if I can make a minute and a half worth of mistakes and still get my personal best. So that's why we're here today. We're on the precipice.
I would say so on the precipice that you've actually leapt off the precipice and landed on the other side, and now have an infinite number of precipices left to conquer. So I'm very excited to see this run. So what is this trick that you're doing right now?
Okay, so this is exactly where I wanted to start to kind of explain how this run works. Super Mario Odyssey 90% is extremely, extremely, extremely unforgiving at the beginning. So you're probably going to be seeing this scene a lot today. But basically, two things to explain. The first is that we do a little trick with daylight savings time where we go into our switch clock, we set our switch clock to a certain time. We don't start the run for, I think the timer's up there, for 42 seconds before the run actually starts. And it's all just to kind of set ourselves up for something that happens in Sand Kingdom, which is the kingdom after this. But in order to get there, we have a 10-second window to hit. In order to get there, we have to do Cascade Kingdom. So we have to do this trick that I'm practicing here called DSS, also known as Dino Skip Skip. Basically a really fast way to get from here all the way up to the top of the kingdom. This is like notoriously one of the hardest tricks in the run. If I miss it, I lose about 8 seconds. So I have to have played perfectly up until this point and missed it once to still have a chance to keep the run going. Otherwise, we lose even more time later. It's just a big mess. So you probably, because this is PB Precipice, we'll be seeing some resets. This is probably where you'll see most of them, is this trick right here. And the idea is that you just like, I can even like do a little demonstration for a second here. This entire rock wall here, there's this tiny little ledge right here. You can see it right here. And Mario has to land on that to like regain his jump so that I can continue moving upwards through the kingdom. And if I land anywhere else, I bonk my face and have to reset. So there will probably be a lot of Cascade Kingdom today. But now that we've gotten that out of the way as a little debrief, I think we're ready for some runs.
Let's go!
Let's go!
So your splits, are, well, I guess, yeah, you know what? You can do a little 3-2-1 go if you want, but I know with the DST stuff, it's a little difficult. So, your splits are in control here. So whenever you want to reset and do runs, you just do.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, so like you can see that I actually started the timer. I started getting it going like while we were in the switch clock there. As soon as I hit OK, the clock kind of like resets itself. And it just so happens that we need to wait 42 seconds in order to start our run. So thankfully, live split does go into the negative, so we can kind of just sit here and vibe for 20 seconds. But yeah, this is something that is required every single run. You
could make it more generous if you were slower.
So that's the thing, though. If you were physically slower, like if I decided to not go for DSS, you could adjust the time to, make up the 10 seconds that you would save by doing the trick. And then you would still make the window. Like you can move the window, but it is a window, right? Like you basically the order of operations is I'm going to plant the seed pot or the seed into the pot. Then daylight savings time is going to happen, allowing 1 hour's worth of time in the switch to move forward. 3, 2, 1, go, by the way. 1 hour of time is going to go, and then I like go into a little loading zone and come back out, and the seed will have like miraculously already grown to full potential already. So it is a window. So like if I am too early for it, if daylight savings time happens like before I get to the seed pot or even after I come out of the loading zone, then they both won't work. I'll still lose time. So. But Adef, you are welcome to ask any questions about this game. I'm sure people in the audience have a lot of questions about Super Mario Odyssey. So,
yeah. If anybody has any questions at any point during the run, obviously, I've got the chat open and I'm happy to direct them. Dangers is no stranger to the GDQ stage, and especially no stranger to PB Precipice. And so, we've talked about everything. There's no more stuff to talk about. There's no more things. We've talked about everything.
We have saturated every possible conversation in the entire universe.
That's right. Actually, I did have a question because it's something we've talked about before, and I think it's something we've even discussed on this show, but I always forget what the number is that you and Spike had talked about.
Sure.
But there's this concept in speedrunning of like... Nice. How close you are to your sum of best dictating your PB potential.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of thinks about it a little differently. Like, what percentage of your PB is your sum of best to dictate like, okay, I should PB soon, or wow, I'm really close.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it depends on the game you're playing. I think it depends on a lot of things. It depends on like how close to the ceiling of the game you are as well. Like the top level players tend to play a little bit better than someone who's brand new. Like it's pretty common for someone to have like a 108 say in this game and have a sum of best that is like a 104, which is like 4 whole minutes off, right? So it really depends on your skill level. It depends on the game. Like if you've got lots of RNG, I think you have like more room for forgiveness and stuff. But the time that Spike and I typically aim for, like you're pretty on your game if you're like losing about 1 second per minute in this game, I think. So if your sum of best, is say 101 and you're getting a 102, then you're on track. Like you're doing a pretty dang good job of playing the game.
Hey, good luck with Dinosaur Skippy Scoopy.
Thank you. I will scoop that dinosaur, and by that I mean not even say hello. So, poor guy.
Okay.
But yeah, it's called Dino Skip Skip because there was a different trick in this game called Dino Skip that was also used to get to the top of the kingdom quicker than before. But we skip Dino Skip with this. Oh, and there we go. And my Cap Kingdom was too slow, but I'm just going to go ahead and try and see if I can get the backup anyway. I kind of want to just get a run going. I told myself coming into this show, let's do runs, even if I have to like reset my daylight savings time cycle or whatever. Let's just do runs until my best possible time says that I can't PB, and then I can go back to the beginning. Because then you get a little bit more of the game. You get to watch a little bit more. I feel a little bit more comfortable getting to play more. It's just a win for everybody if I do it that way. So.
A little bit more content.
That's right. It's all about the content, because we don't want to be stuck in Capscade all day.
Capscade. We love a portmanteau.
I mean, when you're when you're doing it all day for hours at a time, you eventually have to shorten it, right?
Yeah, right.
So yeah, we did get a pretty slow Cap Kingdom. Well, not pretty slow. It's actually pretty fast, but like too slow to have made my daylight savings time cycle. So we are going to have to like manually do it when we get into Sand Kingdom, and you're going to have, this is going to be a perfect example of why missing the window is bad overall, because like you not only lose time for having messed up in Capscade, but then you also in Sand Kingdom have to go into your menu, have to manually change the clock, have to like waste probably another 6 to 10 seconds just doing that. Then you get to go back to the run. It's just like, you know, losing 20 seconds right at the beginning is not a really good feeling. So
imagine losing time twice because you lost time once.
Exactly. I'd be surprised if this actually clips through the ceiling here. Okay, I am surprised.
Wow. I'd be surprised. I am surprised.
I'm officially surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised that trick worked, because like usually you have to be pretty far to the right to make the clip happen, but I was like dead center. Mario was like, it's fine, I got it. No worries, chef.
I got you, homie.
Adaf, are you tired of people calling you chef yet?
Not right now, because I haven't streamed in like 10 days. And I feel like it's not happening in person really at all. So no, at the main event, yes. Every person I passed in the hallway the whole time, was calling me. I mean, it was cute. You know, it's a fun, it's my own fault. So like, you
it's
know,
a good bit. Yeah. It's a good bit.
I don't care. Like, you know, if it helps people remember who I am, then ultimately any press is good press, right?
That's what they say.
But fun fact, somebody in Germany who does not presumably know what speedrunning is, called me chef the other day.
Oh.
Completely not knowing about the bit. So that was fun. I was at this German restaurant in southern Germany, and well, I'll let you show off the DST thing first.
Yeah. So if I had made the window, usually in order for me to make the window, there we go. Little bad menuing here. In order for me to make the window, I would need to leave Cascade Kingdom at about 5:26.5 or earlier. So leaving at 5:29 means that I did have to manually do that. But you're going to see those seeds are usually supposed to take 20 real-time minutes, but it's dictated by your switch clock. So if you want to make them grow immediately, you can just go into your switch clock, set it forward an hour, and ta-da, just like that. You can actually you can stand in front of the flower pot and like watch it grow if you want to. But we use the loading zones because it'll do it for us like automatically. So
there was some cool DST stuff possible when I was learning Breath of the Wild 100% last month, two months ago. There was some cool DST stuff in that category actually, which was neat. It was only if you were like, there's this glitch in 100%, and it's used in almost every category now except for any percent, called IST, which stands for Inventory Slot Transfer.
Okay.
And the trick requires you to create some saves early in the game and then not let those saves get overwritten. And the way you prevent your saves from getting overwritten by new autosaves is you just set the clock back. Because if you set the clock backwards, then the game doesn't register that you have an autosave that can be newer than the one you already have.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah.
And so because of that, but there eventually you do want to set the clock back. And so there's a DST thing you can do where you allow daylight savings time to elapse around when you need new saves to be generated, so you don't have to manually go in and change the clock yourself.
Right, yeah.
It saves like 10 seconds. And if you screw it up is very bad. So I didn't go for it in my one attempt. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty sick. Like, I don't know, before the advent of Super Mario Odyssey, and I guess Breath of the Wild too, any like time-changing devices to be better in speedrunning or to make things quicker, like I always just associated that kind of stuff with like Animal Crossing or something, you know what I mean? Like games that actually have like real-time clock. Yeah. And I mean, I guess the whole seed planting thing is a real-time event, but you would expect that it wouldn't actually matter, but here we are.
Yeah, it's funny. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's funny that like 10 seconds is how much it saves in Breath of the Wild, because it's about the same for this as well. Like the seed being in such a prime location, like nestled in with so many other moons in the town right there, is what makes it so fast as well.
I don't know the exact time save, but it's definitely on the order of 5 to 15 seconds. Like it's somewhere in that range.
Right.
Because all it's doing is literally just saving you having to go into your system menu once. So like ultimately, you know, that's not going to save that much time. That's not any gameplay. It's just a little bit of menuing. But yeah, it causing the clock to instantly jump forward a day or whatever just makes it be like, oh my god, wait, this is a new day. We can make saves now.
It's wild how people figure that kind of stuff out too.
Yeah, it's just a really smart solution to a not really problem, but just, you know, something that can be optimized.
Yeah, just
and I think they took it from Odyssey. Like, you know, Odyssey has had this seed planting optimization for a couple years now. And so when this trick was invented and for the 100% route, it was made obvious that we needed to change the clock twice. I think routers were just like, oh, well, we'll just do the thing they do.
Right. Yeah, as soon as it was made aware that, like, because, yeah,
This
just
was
about
a
every Switch
possibility.
game is going to use the Switch clock if there needs to be any sort of real-time implementation. It just makes sense to kind of piggyback on something that already exists, right? So
Right, and it's a consequence of the saves in Odyssey and Breath of the Wild both having real-time timestamps instead of in-game timestamps.
it's true.
So, like, Breath of the Wild has an in-game clock, but it's not very useful because, first of all, it doesn't progress in any normal way.
Yeah,
like,
it's
it doesn't
not,
progress.
like, not real.
Right,
Yeah.
and there's no days. So you can't differentiate two saves that are both at 2 p.m. in the Breath of the Wild clock. Whereas if you use the real time, it's obviously like, you know, it gives the calendar date.
Exactly, yeah. And Odyssey does do that too, yeah. That's why every time I collect a moon, it's saying that it's March 13th, which is why my chat always likes to say that it's my birthday, because that just so happens to be my birthday, and it just so happens to be a daylight savings time day in 2022. So, you know,
Nice.
funny joke, guys. Funny joke. Every day is my birthday. I get it. Haha. Streamers already get that anyway. Like, people will just come into any regular streamer's
constantly.
chat and be like, "Oh my god, it's your birthday! Happy birthday! I'm giving you subs now," or something. It's like,
Well, so every time that I saw that in your stream, I'm a long time viewer of The Dangers.
it's true. I think you've been
In fact,
following for like
I-
4 years or something.
Oh, no.
Oh no!
I challenge anybody to have an older follow age in Dangerous chat than me. My follow age? Oh, yeah, you're right. 4 years, 9 months, and 2 weeks.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good actually. That's dang long, because I've been streaming since May of 2018, so that is
Almost the whole time.
almost the whole time. Yeah, it's pretty dang close to, like, it's 5 years and some change. So, yeah, that is a very long time.
But yeah, I just, I always assumed it was just the normal birthday meme. But now there's lore.
There is lore, and it's part of the reason that I keep it in 2022 is because it just so happens to be my birthday. But any year, you know, as long as it's the time moving forward one rather than the time moving backward one, which happens to be in March. So,
Right.
I know I said I wasn't going to reset that often in the beginning, but here we are. It's the brain worm, I swear.
Well, yeah, you know, you just want the green splits.
I just want the green numbers. I could compare against something that's a little bit nicer too, because my the PB that I'm currently running against, like, not only do we have this trick that we need to do, not only do we need to make sure that we get to Sand Kingdom on time, but then Sand Kingdom itself is a very brutal kingdom. It's a very, very hard kingdom to play optimally and make sure that everything goes right. And then 2 kingdoms later is Wooded Kingdom, which is also notoriously very difficult. It's just such an easy kingdom to bleed time in. And in my PB, Sand Kingdom, I was almost perfect. Lake Kingdom, I was almost perfect. Wooded Kingdom, I lost like only 2 to 4 seconds. And then Lost Kingdom was also very perfect. So the early game in this run is insane. And we are probably going to be seeing red numbers until at least we get to like the mid game. But that's just the way it goes sometimes.
Oh, Ray has a shorter follow age but a longer subscription date than me in your channel.
Yes.
I think that means I'm a bad friend.
Yeah, you're getting canceled on Twitter for this, I think.
Oh, let's go.
It's what I always
Well,
wanted.
half the people won't see it if my 600 limit has been reached for the day.
That's true. You might not even see it.
Thank God. I live in ignorant bliss.
That's right. As we all should when it comes to Twitter, to be honest.
Yeah.
Speaking of follow ages and stuff in my channel, somebody who I had not seen since the Industrial Revolution came into my chat lately and did the follow age thing. And they actually did beat you. You challenged people to beat you. They did. And you said what, 4 years and 9 months?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? They were 4 years. Okay, nice work, Mario. They were 4 years and 11 months. So almost 5 whole years, which is nuts to me.
Presumably there will be people that have, but it's just whether or not they're around.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is somebody who I hadn't seen in my chat in a very long time. So it was like, wow, like, yeah, you're like an ancient relic coming in.
It is always like, oh my God, when you see somebody who's, I feel like somebody came in recently to my stream that I hadn't seen in like 8 years. I actually did an interview at SGDQ and I requested to this interview specifically for this reason. The guy that ran Mega Man Maker at SGDQ, Mega Marino, was a regular in my chat in 2012.
Oh man.
And has since, neither of us really frequent each other's streams anymore just by virtue of we just don't. But, a decade plus ago, we did. And so I requested that interview specifically because I was like, that's wild.
Yeah, right? Like a reunion almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And I think about like the journey that some people on Twitch have taken, and like one of the ones that comes to mind is like Little Aggie, because Little Aggie and I, like, we were speedrunning Super Mario Odyssey. We had similar sized channels and we were kind of doing the same thing for a while, and then just like, he kind of lost his interest in Odyssey and started doing Souls games instead. And just like, it's crazy to just think of how like so much can change in such a little time.
Yeah, I think my follow date in his stream is pretty old too compared to most people.
Yeah, because I've known about Aggie since 2018. Oh, of course I get it. Second try. Yeah. Very good game. Thank you. Classic. Now all I need to do is get a good Cap Kingdom so that I can get it second try, and then we'll all be away to the races.
Let's see my follow date in Aggie's chat. My follow date in Aggie's chat is September 7th, 2018.
Yeah, that'll do it. That must be pretty close to when you followed my stream too then.
In your stream, my follow date is... Oh, everybody went into your stream and did follow age. Hey, if you're going into Danger's stream and you want to know your follow age, you should just follow... Wow, okay, true. I followed you September 12th, 2018, so I followed Aggie 5 days before I followed you.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Aggie Cat Pack in the chat, I see. Very good.
Any standers in the chat?
Any ADEF he spins in the chat, though. That's a classic right there.
I wore that hat a lot in Europe.
As you should. Did anybody ask you about it?
No, it's just comfortable.
Fair.
Oh, yeah, I didn't tell you about the chef thing.
Yes.
So I sat down to this restaurant in southern Germany, and this guy came up. My sister speaks fluent German, so she was mostly just conversing with all the waitstaff at every restaurant we went to. Mm-hmm. The waiter came up and he goes, "Do you guys want beer?" And we had so much beer over the course of the last few days, and my sisters, both of my sisters were like, and I was like, no. I was like, no, we don't want beer. And he was like, okay, because like I understand that much. So I was like, 9, I don't need beer, whatever. And then he went away, and by the time he came back, I had changed my decision. And I said, I was basically like, yeah, we are gonna get beer. And he goes, oh, the chef wants beer.
And you're like, how do you know that?
And I was like, don't talk to me like that.
What did you just call me?
He was like, oh, okay, boss, the chef wants beer.
Yeah. That's the interesting thing about the word chef, actually, is that chef is just it just means leader in French. So chef de cuisine is like the more appropriate term for like leader of the kitchen that we associate with the word chef.
Yeah, it's just American English has, or rather just English in general, has colloquialized it to be just like cook.
Yes. Leader of the kitchen, the top cook. So
right, which is why the chef de partie or the chef de whatever is just the leader of that section of the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you wouldn't hear us being like chef of the construction yard.
Oh my God, I wish.
What is he cooking? Wish too,
what is he cooking?
Yeah, what is it? Let him cook.
Let him cook. These bolts aren't going to cook themselves.
Chef of Amazon.
Chef of Amazon, Chef Bezos.
Chef Bezos. Yes, chef.
No, chef.
Speaking of Chef Bezos, did you know that you could subscribe for free with Twitch Prime to GDQ right now?
Mm-hmm. Did you know that you can subscribe at Danger's channel for free with Twitch Prime? Danger's, I have a question.
Hi.
So I've been so busy recently, not just with travel, but also just like everything in my life, that I haven't like been able to like consistently watch streams as much as I wanted. This daily goal thing you've been doing, are those subs?
Yeah.
Is that every day?
Every day, yeah.
That's, pardon my French.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything.
And that is where he stopped.
I'm not gonna walk this line.
He's not gonna speak French on this channel.
Pardon my French, chef.
Yeah, I can't even explain it. I really wish I could, but the short story of it is that people are extremely generous.
If I saw your sub count right now, I feel like I'd go bazonko zonko insano mode.
Why is second try always working? Come on, first try, please. Okay, well, Mario didn't want to dive, so yeah. So I don't know. It's just been really receptive. The incentive that I provided is just like, I'll work longer every day, and people are like, yeah, we want to see more Danger stream content. Of course.
I mean, it makes sense, right? So because like ultimately, so you know, basically, Danger's is doing this thing where he's streaming like, you know, every day that he normally streams. But he has a sub goal every day where if the sub goal is met, he'll just stream longer, like, you know, 8 hours, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, like a more traditional quote unquote workday length.
You know, asterisks because of all the stuff that I do outside of it. But
right. Yeah, exactly. That's always the thing that's hard to, when people are, you know, like sometimes a 4-hour stream is tiring enough because you then have to do all the other things outside of your stream that are also for your job. But sometimes I do find that like it is hard to reconcile streaming longer sometimes because it takes time away from those other things, but doesn't necessarily increase revenue, which is not like the goal, right? Ultimately, in the sense of like each individual stream is not going to be as quote unquote lucrative as like every other individual stream because, you know, with a monthly subscription format, not everybody's going to be subscribing every day. That's just obviously the nature of the thing. So some streams will naturally be more lucrative than others and it evens out over the course of the month. However, generally speaking, a streamer's hourly wage, if you were to break down monthly numbers over the course of 30 days over hours streamed, I did that recently when I was doing like a full budget breakdown on stream. It's low. Like it's low out, like minimum wage for people around our size. So I think it's a very smart idea to sort of incentivize like, hey, I'm happy to stream these really long hours if it's financially advantageous.
Yes. And that's kind of the thing, like, you know, with a lot of streamers, the general rule of thumb, the consensus and the advice that's been given to streamers is that you should expand and diversify, and you should have your content in more than one place and stuff like that, which is great advice. I will not deny that. But I also have given YouTube a lot of very concentrated efforts and been rewarded by getting kind of slapped in the face, I guess, to put it lightly. And so, you know, when you're in that position, you kind of have to think, okay, so what does a streamer do to increase the revenue in the places that are working. And so then you come up with incentives and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, when I set 100 subs a day as like the kind of benchmark for increasing the length of the stream, I was like, oh yeah, this will be like a fun thing that people can hit like every now and then to like increase the length of the stream. Like 100 subs in a day is kind of ridiculous, right? Like that's kind of a lot of subs. Yeah,
it is a lot of subs.
It is, yeah. I mean, I can't even really fathom how one person can get 100 subs in the day unless they're like getting thousands of viewers. But we've been pretty consistently hitting that. So clearly, our community really does want to see the streams be longer on in general, and I'm happy to kind of fill that. You're right, because if it's financially advantageous, why not, right? And I do love streaming, so
yeah, it's business 101, supply and demand.
Supply and demand, baby.
There will be more Dangerous Stream the more demand there is for Dangerous Stream.
That's right. Yeah, and it's been super fun, and I mean, like, it all kind of funnels into itself. Like, I'm rediscovering kind of the passion for speedrunning. For a little while, I was doing some other content on my stream, but coming back from GDQ kind of reinvigorated the speedrunning, as it always does whenever you go to GDQ. I just want to start speedrunning again. So that was nice. Oh, okay. Mario, if you could, like, please read my inputs. That would be really nice. Okay, we're up. That was really slow, but we should still be able to make the DSTA cycle, I think. But yeah, so I mean, it's funneling back into itself because like speedrunning gets better when you practice, and 3 extra hours of playing Super Mario Odyssey every day for like 3 weeks has been very advantageous to my ability to be more consistent and go faster and learn new tricks, and it's just been great all around. So, and thank you, and also follow Adef, also Cozy Stream, and finally going to be streaming again now that he's home from Europe. So,
yeah, I'm just gonna stream. I'm just gonna stream videos of me staring blankly at the camera.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's good content.
That's my new content angle.
I'm about it. I'm behind
it. Thanks. Thank you. I think it's really good.
I think you really got something going on there.
Thank you. I've been running it by everybody, and it seems that everybody feels pretty much the same way about it, which is, that sounds goated.
I would definitely tune in.
Yeah, I'm planning on doing about 80 or 90 hours a week of staring content.
Okay, that's great.
And I'm going to put it under the casual eating tag on Twitch, if that still exists, because that just feels right.
Yeah. Even though there is no eating.
The fans are eating.
Oh, good. Yeah, they would if they're watching that.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
I have no idea what I'm going to stream. I have no idea.
Have you had the itch to speedrun after GDQ yourself?
I did, and then I came home. There are some projects I still want to tackle in speedrunning. I definitely feel unfinished in a couple games, and I think there are a couple co-op projects on the horizon for me, speedrunning wise, which is always what I think is most interesting in speedrunning. Personally, I think co-op stuff is like really fascinating. But yeah, I've really been, I don't know, what I've been feeling energetic about recently has been creating short form stuff.
Yeah, I've been seeing you pop off on TikTok lately.
It's been fun. You know, some of them do well, some of them don't, but that's just the name of the game.
For sure.
But I've been searching for a while for something more creatively satisfying, because that is, as fans of Speedrunners and Dragons will know, really all I care about. And so I wasn't feeling that I was getting that recently, and I have been feeling like this has satisfied that in a nice way. So
that's very good. I did not make it. I was like basically on the cusp. The reason that I know, there we go. The reason that I know is because my PB also missed DSS.
Did it really?
It did, yeah. So I did lose my 8 seconds in Cascade Kingdom, but I like barely squeaked in to get the seed in the pot in time and was able to continue the run as a result. And then I went on to have the best run I've ever had. So, you know, never give up, trust your instincts, I guess. But that also, like, I basically learned that I was, like, right on the cusp. Like, if I had been even 0.1 seconds slower, because I had a run shortly after that was 0.1 seconds slower, that I wouldn't have made it. So,
well, it's kind of nice to know that you just have to be green at all, and you will make it.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, what? Mario, your dive angle. What are you doing, man? Yeah, that is just about everything in Sand Kingdom is like exceptionally hard. And that catching that bird is no exception. You basically have to pull out all the stops. You have to do everything that Mario has in his toolkit to like stay in the air while the moon is spawning in, so that you can grab it while like staying up there, so you don't have to like get back on the ground and then come back up again.
Do you have a favorite kingdom to play?
Oh boy. Okay, nice. Yeah, good job, Mario. Awesome. I would say it depends on the category. This category either Lost and Luncheon are probably the two most like satisfying kingdoms, like when everything goes right.
Yeah.
Like when you nail all the tricks in those respective kingdoms, you're like, okay, I feel like a boss. I feel like I know how to play this game.
Right.
But yeah, it really does depend on the kingdom.
Great.
Yeah. And it's like in this category especially, it's like so short and sweet. You're in and out so quickly that like it's pretty noticeable when things go wrong as a result of that. But there's also just like so much movement that you can pack into such a tiny little space, I guess. And hopefully I'll get to show off all the cool stuff when we get there.
A lot of people in chat seem to be discussing the differences between OLED and original Switch. Do you happen to know anything about load times or anything like that?
Load times are unaffected between the two. That was definitely something that we wanted to look into when the OLED Switch was coming out. Like if a Switch Pro has faster loading times, then what does a community of speedrunning do about something like that? But no, the OLED has not affected load times as far as we can see. And the OLED's been out long enough that we have a pretty good understanding that, you know,
it's
just the same. I'm also kind of shocked
that it didn't increase the speed at all.
Yeah, the number one contributing factor to load times in this game was actually the introduction
update,
of 1.3. Right? Yeah. So the most recent update of this game. So there were two main functions of that update. The first one was to overclock the loads like we're talking about now. But then the second one was like a completely unused feature that nobody even knows exists, which is like the virtual reality addition to Super Mario Odyssey using Nintendo Labo. That was also added in 1.3, but like I have never even touched that. I don't even know what it's about.
It's actually useful in Breath of the Wild speedrunning, isn't that wild?
So I've heard, yeah, because it can manipulate like lag
lag
frames and stuff. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it just gives you more generous lag frames for certain tricks. Because it's rendering two instances of the game
right.
side by side.
That'll create lag, all right. And it's funny because it like does the whole like, you know, if I were to change my camera scene right now to like my VR headset, it's just like it actually is like two circles that you see, which is it's just very silly.
It is exceptionally silly.
Okay,
yeah, the Chinese text is faster. That's
correct.
it. If ever you are watching any speedrun and they're playing in a language that is not their native language, there's either one of two answers. They just want to, or it's faster. Probably because it's faster.
And funny enough, there are actually, I've seen some like Tears of the Kingdom speedrunners who have, like they're still trying to figure out the language stuff. I think they are kind of deciding on one that is a couple frames faster or something, but at the begining, people were just like, well, I kind of just like the way that the voice acting is in Japanese, so I play that one.
It's in Breath of the Wild, 100%. Whenever people come into the Discord and ask what language should I play in, everybody just answers whatever language you can read. Because, like, there's just so much reading in 100% and so much menuing.
Yeah.
That is so critical that, like, you could do it in a language you don't understand, sure, but, like, ultimately just play the language you can comprehend because the faster language isn't even that much faster.
Right. Yeah, that's perfectly fair. In fact, like, that's just good advice in general for anybody getting into any speed game, in my opinion. Like, obviously, Chinese is the fastest language. It's been tested and tried and true. But, like, when you're getting into Super Mario Odyssey speedrunning and you are just starting and you don't even have a time, like, play in English for the first, like, couple of months until you understand what the menus do and stuff, because, like, you don't need those 12 seconds.
No.
All right, so we are desperately behind. In my regular PB attempts, I probably would not be continuing this run, but like I said, our best possible time says we've got like 45 seconds of leeway. So let's just play the game a little bit. We're in Lake Kingdom now, and I did do a version of the lake clip, a kind of backup version that we use now, the one that we use traditionally. But there has been the introduction of triple jump moon clips. They were discovered quite a while ago, but they were generally considered to be not very RTA viable because, well, first of all, most of them are a one-frame window. And secondly, they usually require some, like, really, at the time, janky setups. But, you know, speedrunning is always evolving and adapting, and so now runners have discovered a way to kind of include them in their runs. The world record holder is doing 3 separate triple jump moon clips now, in addition to all the backflip ones we were already doing. So it's crazy stuff. This game goes out of bounds so many times now. All right. So now we're into Wooded Kingdom. This kingdom is notoriously difficult. We're going to be going out of bounds. The hope is that we'll go out of bounds twice. Both using moon clips, different kinds of moon clips. But we'll see how that goes.
How does the triple jump clip work?
So basically, when you backflip or triple jump, Mario's like flipping through the air. And then when you cap throw, you are reverting Mario's position back to an upright one. So if you happen to grab a moon on the same, like, couple of frames that you're throwing a cap while you're in the middle of one of those flips, it obviously warps Mario's position quite drastically. So for the backflip ones, typically all you have to do is just, like, face away from the wall you want to clip through and grab the moon at the same time that you throw Cappy into the wall. Pretty straightforward. The triple jump ones work the same way, except they are far more precise. And for some reason, you have to, instead of, like, pointing the control stick into the wall, you have to point it in the opposite direction. We don't know why that works, but it just does. Otherwise, exactly the same concept.
Huh. So, like, you could flip into this tree, maybe.
Well,
well, I
probably
guess
could,
there's
yeah.
not really a good flipping spot.
Yeah. It all kind of matters. Like, if there is a moon close enough to a wall, then you can accomplish that, yeah. It's easier when you spawn it in like that, like it just came out of the nuts, so there's like a brief period of time where I'm not allowed to grab the moon. Those are the easiest ones to get the backflips with, because you can kind of set yourself up with some timing. The triple jump ones tend to be harder because the moon's already there. Ooh, nice, okay. We like that. We like to see that. Oh, that's not the movement, but that's fine. We will pretend that it was today. All right. So yeah, we did go out of bounds that one time. That's just like the traditional nut clip, the one that we've been using. It's funny that we found it. Like, I feel like there's a huge advancement in this game every time that, like, a live event is happening where it's being showcased, which is really funny. Because the very first time this game got into GDQ, it was Nicrovita doing any percent, and we found the nut clip, and we just found the moon clips in general, but the nut clip as an extension of that happened while he was at GDQ, and he wasn't able to showcase it because he wasn't home to practice, which is really funny. And then I'm trying to think of what the other one was. Oh, right, 1.3 dropped while... Oh, okay, well, see ya. 1.3 dropped... 1.3 dropped while everybody was at Pace, which is actually happening this weekend too, by the way. I don't know if there's any Odyssey content aside from, like, a showcase race for Darker Side, but Pace is pretty cool because they do, like, competitive speedrunning stuff.
Are you going to be there?
I would be there right now if I was there.
I'm so out of touch with everything right now.
That's totally fair.
I have no idea what is happening.
You're just, you've been in a whole other world for a while.
I was. Europe's not even it's a different planet. It's a completely different place. People who live there are lying. Nobody lives there.
Yeah, but nobody lives there.
Nobody lives there. It's an uninhabitable foreign world.
Makes sense to me.
Probably next reset we'll do our first break.
That sounds good to me. Yeah, that's perfect timing.
Somebody want to know how long has GDQ been going? I think the first Games Done Quick event was in 2010, maybe 2011.
That sounds.
I think 2010. Right. I think 2010 was the first GDQ. I'm pretty sure. I could get some confirmation on that probably by using this thing called google.com, which all of you can also use whenever you want.
What's that?
I don't know.
Oh, you just heard about it and is like people figure stuff out with this thing?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
I think the GDQ Wikipedia page will probably have it. Yep, January 1st through the 3rd, 2010. Raised $10,000.
10,000.
That's
not
nothing.
A long way. That's not nothing, but we have definitely come a long way since then. And that was just in like Mike Uyama's basement or something, right?
Yeah, that's correct, I believe. Man, that was a long time ago. It wasn't even called Awesome Games Done Quick back then. I think that was
Classic Games Done Quick, right?
CGDQ. Yeah.
Yeah.
SDA, which is the organization that kind of still exists, question mark, maybe it doesn't exist. I don't know.
The website is still there for sure.
Yeah, the website still exists.
But it's very antiquated.
It's been around far longer.
Oh, yeah. Like, I discovered speedrunning, I've told the story plenty of times, but like Super Mario World, that was like a way for me to play the game again. And like, I was like, oh, you can just take this little path through the game. And like, if you play these levels in this order, that's probably like the shortest way to do it. I could beat this game in one sitting. And then one sitting ended up being like 30 minutes or something. And I was like, are other people doing this? Like, are other people like playing through a game and timing it? And sure, you know, a couple searches on that website, google.com or whatever, resulted in Speed Demos Archive. This was back in like 2008. So.
Hell yeah.
Andrew G had the world record then, 11 minutes flat, Super Mario World, any percent. That was before any of the glitches were discovered, any of the, arbitrary code execution or whatever as well, so.
That category is now 11 exit?
Yeah, now it's been named 11 exit because there is a faster any percent, so. And that is arbitrary code execution. You can get to the credits, quote unquote, you can get to the end of the game, quote unquote, in like 41 seconds or something. Which I think is like the shortest. Oh, no, maybe it's not the shortest. I'm pretty sure Super Mario Land 2 also has something crazy that makes it even shorter than that. Yeah.
You were about to say it's the shortest 2D Mario?
Yeah, or just the shortest Mario in general. Because I can't think of another one that comes to mind that's even shorter.
Of the console Mario games, like the mainline console Mario games, it's definitely the fastest.
Mario, why are you like this?
Martio.
Okay, well. That will be our reset. I guess we can throw it onto a break.
Gamers, don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with more dangers, more PB Precipice, and more Super Mario Odyssey speedrunning. Any percent attempts. A lot of buzzwords there. In just a little bit here, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We're just taking a brief break. Stick around. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to PB Precipice. My name is Adef. Gamers, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to press that like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, please go to twitch.tv/GamesDoneQuick if you're interested in looking at our live content starting weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. Dangers, why don't you get us back into the swing of things?
Sure thing. Better now than later, I suppose. Especially because we got to wait 42 seconds.
Millions of times. Probably worth re-explaining sort of what's going on with the timer.
Sure thing. Yeah. So we are setting up for a trick called daylight savings time abuse, which is basically the game is tied to the Nintendo Switch clock for some real-time events. One of those events being how long it takes for seeds to grow in pots to produce moons. Usually it takes 20 real-time minutes. But if we plant a seed in a pot and then the Nintendo Switch clock's daylight savings time kicks in, then the world within the game progresses an hour ahead, which is more than 20 minutes, as it turns out. So what we're doing is basically timing it exactly before the run even starts so that we plant the seed in the pot, our daylight savings time ticks over, and we then get to reap the benefits of the moon that grew in 20 minutes. But because of, the precise nature of it, if we miss our window, then we lose even more time by having to go into the menu and manually setting the time ourselves. So, but that is a thing for you at home. Like if you have planted those seeds in those pots and have wondered what it is that makes them grow, it's real time in the Switch clock. So if you just go into your settings and set it forward an hour, you can watch those plants just grow right in front of your eyes, in case you were impatient for waiting. So, Adaf, have you ever done any Super Mario Odyssey speedrunning? I feel like I've probably asked that question.
I got a 125.
Okay.
In 2018.
18? Okay.
Yeah, I did probably, 5 or 6 runs. It's fun. I liked it.
It's fun.
It's a great speed run.
Yeah,
at the time I was commuting in and out of New York City every day for a show I was working on, and being able to practice the run on the subway, I would just prop up the Switch on my legs and then use the Joy-Cons.
Right.
It was great.
A lot of shaking in this game.
Yes, that was not optimal, but we made it work.
It does make things a little bit weird, especially if you're on transit. I always think about practicing Odyssey while I'm on a plane or something, and then realizing where did Topper go just now? That's exactly what I realized, is just wondering where Topper is in my life all the time. Just elbowing my neighbor while I'm shaking the controller and stuff like that is probably not the greatest.
Well,
but still fun game to play.
You gotta hold your arms down to your like
this.
that, and then shake it like that.
Very optimal. Very good. Yeah. All right. So we were in the first part of the stream. I was having a little bit of an audio desync issue. So maybe this is just a little bit of copium, but maybe with me hearing the audio more truly, some of these tricks are going to behave a little bit for us. We can hope anyway.
I have faith.
We got to get at least one run where the DSTA trick actually works, right? We got 3 hours. Surely we'll get it once.
Yeah.
But, speaking of the incentives and stuff that we were talking about before, I will be streaming on my own channel later. So this is kind of a warm-up for that also.
Oh, are you really?
Shameless plug.
It's not shameless at all.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, wait, that's not what I meant to say. That sounded mean. What I meant by that was you don't need to worry about it being shameful or shameless because the show is here to promote you, so...
That's a good point. That's a very fair point, yeah. So this will be a nice, even if we, for some reason, do not get the timing, it'll be a nice warm-up for later, so.
Nice.
And I will be planning on doing a very long stream. There's a lot of dangerous content today. I'm gonna be playing Odyssey for 12 hours today, so let's go.
It's the Lord's Day. It's Danger's Day.
That's right. It's the Lord, what did you call me at the beginning? Dwight D. Dangers?
Dwight D. Dangers.
That's right. The triple D.
I guess I have a small update about PB Precipice that I never said anything about. But for all you Precipice heads out there, all you PB fanatics, I have just, running 4 GDQ shows every month for the last almost 3 years, which is kind of wild that it's coming up on 3 years for Challenger approaching soon.
Yeah.
Has been tiring. And you've probably noticed that the gaps between my GDQ shows have been increasing. And part of that is just as a direct consequence of I'm just traveling a ton. And I'm just really busy all the time all of a sudden, which is good busy. That's fine. It's, ultimately being busy is better than not being busy when it's interesting things, and I'm all down for that. But what that means is that, shows have been spaced out more. And so instead of just canceling a bunch of shows, which is what I've had to do in recent months, I've decided to just limit the number of shows. So instead of it being 2 PB Precipices a month, where it's just every other Sunday all year, we're just going to do the first Sunday of every month. So it'll be 1 PB Precipice a month. And if you don't see PB Precipice on that first Sunday, that means it's just not going to happen.
No PB Precipice for you. But here we are on this glorious first Sunday of the month.
It's the first Sunday of the month. It's Precipice Sunday. And we're here. We're vibing. And yeah, Challenger approaching is still going to be every other Friday, at least for right now. I'm not going to guarantee that is going to stay the same. But at least for the time being, that is the plan. So yeah, that's sort of how things have been shifting timeline-wise for the 8F GDQ shows. Thank you for coming to my Nintendo Direct.
Your Nintendo talk.
Yes, my Nintendo talk.
Yes. Anytime. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, thanks.
At least I still get my PB Precipice fix. At least it's not going away.
No, it's not going away. How could I do that to the adoring public? Whatever would they do without PB Precipice? Surely the world would fall apart, borders would fall, wars would start, just entropy in the purest state.
As the universe is always tending towards, so.
And PB Precipice is the last force field between the heat death of the universe and Earth, so you're welcome. It would be just tragic if I stopped.
It's a really, really tall order. It's a very heavy burden to bear.
Yeah, well, look, Uyama pulled me aside and said, this is a big deal. And if you don't do this show, some real world consequences are going to take place. And, it's my cross to bear, and I'll happily bear it for the sake of humanity. It's a really hard life. So,
Godspeed.
Thank you. Truly, I am Atlas with the world on my shoulders, having to watch my friends play video games once a month.
How long has PB Precipice been a thing? Because I mean, I should know the answer because I was on the pilot episode.
You were on the pilot. You were on episode 0.
Episode 0.
I think that was September or October of 2021.
Did we do Galaxy for that one?
Yes, I think so.
That was in my Galaxy era. So
yes, your short-lived Galaxy era.
Yeah.
It wasn't that short-lived.
It was about 6 months of giving it a shot, but that game was like. There are some games that tend towards accessibility, and there are some games that tend towards there is so much that we can do with this. There are so many possibilities, and we really don't care if it's not possible for people to easily access the fastest ways to do this. We just want to go fast, and I think Galaxy tends towards the second one quite a bit. So it was hard for me to keep up, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But it's still an extremely fun speed game. And even if you do play single player, and even if you do play in English, which is like losing you, I think at this point, like over 10 minutes, you still get to show off a really cool amount of stuff. So
10 minutes?
Something like that, yeah. Because like the playing on Japanese Virtual Console versus playing on English disc by itself is about 4 minutes. which is an absurd amount of time just for playing a different version of the game. But then the 2-player tricks, like they trivialize all the 1-player stuff and they add like an infinite amount of like new stuff that you can do as well. So yeah, it's a significant amount of time.
Wow. Yeah, I think the first challenger approaching was December 2020, which doesn't feel real. And the first PB Precipice, Super Mario Galaxy PB Precipice. September 20th, 2021 was the upload date to September 19th, 2021. So this September will be 2 years of PB Precipice.
Okay.
Which, again, also doesn't feel real. I mean, like, ultimately, everybody feels the same way about, like, the pandemic truly stretched time to, like, this weird liminal state where it does not feel like 3 years have passed.
Correct. But at the same time, like, it's hard to remember a time before having to wear masks and stuff like that.
Right.
So it is quite astounding what it did to it just warped time, changed it forever. All right. Now, I have been told by production, aka 8F and Ray, that we do have to do a no reset at some point. So just letting the viewers know out there that while being in Capscade is maybe not the most invigorating thing, when we come back from our second break, we will we will certainly get past that, regardless of how on pace we are for PV. So I promise you we'll see all of the game, and this game has a lot to offer. So, but maybe we'll get there before then. Let's find out.
Let's find out.
Let's just see.
It is, it's been quite a journey with Hotfix. I would say that running the Hotfix shows has been net very positive impact-wise on my life. But, just as things accelerate, it gets harder to dedicate, because this is a whole other job. And running 2 shows is like 2 whole other jobs. I don't know. Together, they're like 1 job, I would say. But as we were talking about earlier, in the sort of attempt to diversify, I'm just finding myself more stretched for time as I'm trying to do more things and network here in Los Angeles and things like that.
Yeah, and I mean, LA is one hell of a place to live if you want to save money or make it. So diversifying makes perfect sense.
Yeah, ultimately just trying to be financially stable is the goal.
It's one hell of a goal, yeah.
Yeah. Frog capture, underrated capture.
I mean, we need it in the speedrun. First thing we do is capture that frog. It's a treat.
I wish he were in more places. I know he's in the darker side.
Yes. So you can use the frog. First of all, you use the frog to like get up to the main part of darker side in the first place. Like they're just vibing in the little pond. It's funny that like the 2 places they exist are like here. I think there's like a sub area or 2 that feature them, including one in Lake Kingdom where you have to like jump over waves of poison, which is actually unironically easier if you don't use the frog. And then the other 2 places that they exist are in Moon Kingdom itself, and then also in Darker Side, which is on the moon with moon gravity. So like you're already jumping high because it's moon gravity, and then they give you a frog and you just go flying. But I agree, underrated capture, and that's a frog fact.
That's a frog fact, and best capture is the Pokio, and that's just how it is.
You're not just saying that because like you got the Birdman on.
No,
your podcast right now?
It's my favorite.
I think it's like, what it does is really cool. And
the movement is really interesting.
Yeah, like the fact that you can scale walls with it, and like every capture always has some sort of like hidden mechanic behind like shaking the controller that they don't even really tell you about when you, because you know,
Right.
it'll like flash some controls on the screen when you capture something. They don't usually tell you about the shakes, but that extra little boost. Oh my god, first try, what? Oh, please hold, please hold. We're up there, okay. Now, I did have a decent Cap Kingdom, so that, as long as we get the clip, we are away to the races.
Huge.
Massive, yeah. And the reason that that trick is so hard is because, again, it's like a tiny little polygon on the wall that just like juts out and like flat enough that it gets considered ground. And of course, because hitboxes do not equal physical space or like what you can physically see, the wall actually extends the hitbox of the wall like, you know, a little fraction out as well. So it's not even that the polygon is small, it's even smaller than it appears. It's a tiny little sliver that you have to land on. You have to be the right height. You have to be like directionally sound as well. And if you don't, you just bonk and you lose 8 seconds. So very difficult trick, especially when you consider the pressure of needing to get to Sand Kingdom on time, basically. Imagine a bus.
Imagine a bus.
There's only one bus, and it leaves in this 10-second window. And if you're not there, you miss the bus.
You die.
You perish. Mario is sent to the Shadow Realm.
No, Mario.
All right, we are kosher on this one. This is fine.
Mario becomes ensnared by the... This is a deep Yu-Gi-Oh cut. Instead of Shadow Realm, I'm going to go with Orichalcos.
Ooh, okay.
Any Yugi heads in the chat room?
Yuki boy.
Yugi, my boy.
I was just goading that one out. That's I've heard you do that before. So I was like, I need a little taste, please.
I need a taste of Maximilian Pegasus, and he will give it.
Oh, he will giveth. All right, we got the clip. The numbers are green. Like you said, we are basically like sitting on the razor's edge when it comes to my PB and getting the DSTA window. So we are safe. The numbers are green, which means that it will work. You'll get to see it for yourself here live on GDQ, only an hour and a half into the broadcast. It took us that long, but we got there. I see people in the chat asking for donker voices. We're gonna have to get to Metro
We're gonna have
Kingdom.
to get to new. I'm not new donking until I see a new donker. I mean, it's that simple.
That's right. Gotta, you know, you gotta make people work for it. You know, you gotta make people wait.
That's right.
Stay tuned. Yeah. I feel like this game has come so far. Like, when I first started this game, there were certain kingdoms where I was like, oh, this one's kind of easy, so we can take a little bit of a break here. We can, like, catch our breath for the next one. And I just don't know if that's true anymore. Like, I think that maybe the two kingdoms where that's true are, like, Cloud and Ruined. And then everything else is like, oh, well, there's that trick that you have to worry about, or that movement that notoriously kills your run, or every kingdom's got its version of that. Okay, and apparently I don't know how to grab moons. There we go.
I mean, I don't know how to grab moons.
Me neither. I mean, they're so far away.
Are these reruns or are they actually live this often? The GDQ Hotfix is daily live speedrunning content presented here on the GDQ Twitch channel every single day. We have a delightful lineup of shows. We have some new shows entering the fray, featuring people that you know. You can
That's
check
true,
out
like Mr. Shasta, for
Mr.
example.
Shasta's getting a show. We've got Etchy coming on board to do one-off shows. A lot of great people coming in to do interesting new GDQ content. No more of us old fools who've been around for 1,000 years. There's new blood, so get pumped. Always exciting when a new wave of showrunners comes in and they're all bright-eyed and excited. We love to see that fervor and enthusiasm. Meanwhile, I'm like, okay, PB Precipice 2 times a month. I can do it. No,
Bones rattling.
I love running my shows. I'm just tired. Yeah, really exciting new shows coming into the fray. So be sure to check out the lineup. We've got some tweets announcing them. I believe probably also on the gamesdonequick.com/hotfix webpage. Nope, not there yet, but that's okay. That's fine. Ultimately, though, a lot of cool stuff happening, and we just have shows every day. For instance, right after this is not even the only thing that's happening today. We have a really interesting one-off hosted by the aforementioned Etchy. Etchy will be hosting us a very interesting Nintendo Direct-themed special event starting with Pikmin 2. So I believe that's going to be sort of like games that are featured in recent Directs will be on display. So very, very interesting stuff in the pipeline here. Yeah.
I do like that. Oh, there's a sign there. Don't want to hit that, as it turns out.
Oh, we have a scheduled thing? Have we always had this? This is cool. Okay.
Oh, like a command in the chat and everything.
Yeah, and it has like a... Yo, this is baller. Okay, so... Pikmin 2 and then Pokemon Sword and Shield. Looks like maybe a Pokemon Sword and Shield race after Pikmin 2 on the Direct to Hotfix show hosted by Etchy.
That's super fun. I've never actually, I haven't seen very many Pikmin speedruns before, so...
Pikmin, the speedruns are really interesting. As a layperson who has never really played any Pikmin, it's still cool to watch. I remember when Pikmin 3 came out, there was, really cool speed tech found. There was, really interesting OOB stuff that got found within the first, month, and the speedrun was super cool. Yeah, in Pikmin 3. And then it all got patched.
Oh, of course.
Apparently, we've had the schedule thing for half a year. Well, I just...
He's just too busy to notice.
Yeah.
We've been over this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the kind of the shame of running a new game in this day and age anyway.
Yeah. A new Nintendo game, especially.
This might be... Okay. We take those. So that is probably if people were curious about what the newest tech in this game is, because obviously speed games are always evolving and we're discovering new things and stuff like that. This is the newest thing that's been implemented, is that triple jump moon clip like that. Glad I got to show one off. I also got to show one off at the GDQ run that happened last month as well. And basically just, we were always going to go out of bounds anyway for this particular route that we're doing, but to be able to get that clip means that we save about 5 seconds, which is really nice.
What are the big
cool stuff?
Time save moments in this run?
Oh boy. Do you mean compared to my PB?
Yes, compared to your PB.
So, like I mentioned earlier, the section of this run between Sand Kingdom, because I missed DSS and barely made the window for DSTA, so the run continued. But Sand Kingdom was super clean, very, very close to gold. My Lake Kingdom was super clean, very, very close to gold. Wooded Kingdom was infamously not terrible, which is, not something I usually get to say about Wooded Kingdom. And then Lost Kingdom was a gold. It literally was gold. So that stretch of 20 minutes between Sand Kingdom and Lost Kingdom is virtually perfect. All of the time save that I have conspires afterwards, or I guess transpires afterwards. I think I have 17 seconds in Luncheon Kingdom, another kingdom that is just if you save time here, you are a literal god. And then Moon Kingdom, I think I lost 15 because I decided to play it safe and like not do a trick that could have saved me 7 seconds. I went for it once. It didn't work out exactly right, so I chickened out. So there is a lot of time save at the end, basically.
Your first 58 had 2DSS, right?
It sure did. Yep.
That's so sick. That's so
funny.
sick.
Yeah, funny enough, it was actually the 4th personal best in Super Mario Odyssey any % in a row, where I was in a situation where I was approaching Moon Kingdom and I basically had less than 7 seconds of time loss between me and the PB, and I was like, I need to get this trick, basically the hardest trick in the game. I need to get it in order to get a personal best, and 4 times in a row I did. So I don't know, something about working well under pressure or something, but it is pretty crazy that it just keeps happening like that.
He's coated with the sauce.
And then, of course, the funny thing is, like, the run, my most recent PB, my most recent personal best, I didn't need 2DSS, and so I missed it, and then went for the regular stuff. So it's only when it's absolutely vitally necessary that I actually get the trick.
Well, just wait in front of the wall for however long, so that you were only 7 seconds away from PBing, and then go for it.
Exactly. Yeah, and only ever PB by increments of 7 seconds or less.
Yeah, correct.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's a solid strategy.
Imagine a buff.
I mean, I'll get to 57 eventually doing that.
Is that your goal?
So the thing is, like, I've had so many runs lately that have just been so cracked. The sauce is just there. It's immaculate. It's seasoned well. That have, like, I've been going into Luncheon Kingdom, and my best possible time is still reading 57. So, like, it's crazy that that's possible for me, considering my PB's a high 58, but, like, I gotta push for it, right? I gotta go for it, because it's so close. It's like I can taste it.
It's so close, he says, after months of grinding for the 58.
Yeah, because, I mean, it was on and off, but, yeah, 17 months separated my 5901 from my 5857, so.
I mean, like, to be fair, though, also, there is something to be said about, like, there's this weird mental, like, physiological and mental barrier on minute barriers. It's, like, really
so
strange.
Silly.
Like, you could PB 1,000 times between 5910 and 59 flat, and then you struggle so hard to PB the 5859, even though it's like 1 second. I cannot explain it, but like the importance that we as speedrunners put on the very arbitrary distinction of, oh, that has 2 zeros in it, like 58. Like each minute barrier mattering, we put so much importance on that in our community that like it creates this really high barrier for low minute barriers.
No, I did it again.
Nice backup.
At least I got the save. At least the run gets to continue. That's all I care about.
That's all.
Also, banging Wooded Kingdom music. I can see people got their jammies going.
It's an important song.
Very important. Culturally significant.
The national anthem of Wooded Kingdom.
That's right. All rise.
All rise. I think if they played the Wooded Kingdom theme at the start of every school day, kids would be smarter. I'm going to say it.
I would be much more invested in going to school, I think.
I'd pop off.
I would literally pop my pants.
I mean, I don't think either of us are really going to elementary school anymore, but...
True. But, this is the change we can see in the world. Right,
right, this is for the future generations.
Very important, yes. I'm going to be attempting another of those triple jump moon clips. So the one in Lake Kingdom actually has a 2-second window. This one has not 2 second. That would be nuts. That would be so easy. 2-frame window. This one has a 1-frame window. This is literally a frame perfect trick. So let's see how this goes. Yeah, 2 seconds. Could you imagine? Oh, I missed the 2-second window. Oh no. Oh, I think I pressed the button like 1 frame too late. But that's okay.
Average Ocarina of Time speedrunner.
Yeah.
My 2-second window.
Is that game?
It's 20.
20 frames per second in that game?
Yeah, the N64 is capable of like 24 or whatever, but OT runs at 20.
I mean, yeah, because I'm pretty sure SM64 runs at 24, which is still not very many frames per second.
Yeah, and like ultimately, frame perfect tricks unbuffered are like still hard, but you know, going from Mega Man 1 or whatever, where it's 60 FPS or this is 60 FPS, like a frame perfect trick here, a frame perfect trick in OOT feels like so easy, in fact, that I can see which frame I'm on sometimes. Like, I'll be like, oh, press B now, because I can literally see it. Whereas in 60 FPS, like, you have a general feel for what it looks like, but you're kind of using the feeling of it. But in OT, I'm literally like, oh, I saw the frame I need.
Right. Yeah. Even better when it lags, which I guess Majora's Mask does a lot, so.
Yeah. OT on N64 and MM on N64 is really bad. Like, the lag is monumental.
All right, we've officially made it the furthest that we have today. Here we are in Cloud Kingdom. And nothing to really, like, again, this kingdom's a bit of a break. There is one thing that I need to be a little bit concerned about here is just ground pounding that spot. Different versions of the game have different updates and stuff, and usually when you're a speedrunner, you don't... Okay, that's never happened before. Usually when you're a speedrunner, you don't like updates because it usually means that they're going to fix something that you were using, which is not great. But in the case of this speedrun, it was actually kind of nice to have an update add something that gives us coins, because those little hint arts give us 200 coins. And at first we were like, oh, well, this is going to make the all moon speedrun so much better because we have to like grind coins for like an hour, and that's not fun. But as it turns out, it's kind of crept its way into just about every category of this game, including any percent, because that fight is, you know, it's scripted. That's basically an auto scroller if you know what you're doing. So the fact that you have enough time to go and ground pound that spot and get 200 coins means that you essentially get those 200 coins for free. Like, you don't lose any time to get them. So it's helpful. Very cool. Also, here's the kingdom that I really love. It goes super fast, so don't blink. Okay, and we're in the poison.
Who blinked?
That was me. I blinked.
Stupid idiot.
I can't believe this. Cappy decided that he didn't want to be on the tree, like I was, so. There we go. We'll see what my best possible time is looking like after this kingdom, but we were probably going to hit the reset button. But don't worry, we'll have to do a no reset at the end of this segment anyway, so we will be back here at the very least. At least one more time. But honestly, like, it's just a mesmerizing kingdom to watch, in my opinion. There's just, like, so much going on. Every movement is very calculated. Every downtime, even, if you have any of it at all, is, like, planned out, and you're doing actions. Yeah, it's just wild. Give Cappy off to this little dude, and then position Mario right there so that he can blow up that one block. You'll notice that it didn't blow up the block that's like, that makes sense. And that's because it's using the cameras, or it's using the game's like, if it's off camera, it doesn't exist function. It's kind of a feature, kind of just an optimization tool that a lot of programmers will use for their games. But basically the reason that block is able to explode and not the ones in between are because that block is far enough off the screen that it doesn't exist. So that's how we make that kind of doing one action and then having something else happen in the interim. And there's a lot of that in Odyssey. There's so much of like, I'm gonna set this up over here while I do this thing over there. You know what? Actually, we didn't lose as much time as I thought. Let's keep going.
Oh, is it time?
It's time. We're going to Metro.
Wow.
It's night Metro, so everybody's hiding inside right now, but we'll get to day Metro.
Oh, okay.
Where the donkers are. We'll have to talk to a few.
I love them.
I also love them. I love them so much that I have 96 separate sound files on my computer, and people can use their channel points to make them talk.
Yeah, you're welcome, by the way.
Oh, okay. I guess we're not going to day Metro. Just kidding. You're going to have to hold on to your hats just a little bit longer because Mario decided not to dive there.
Turn the switch off.
Yeah, I'm done with this. Goodbye. I'm sorry, the show's over. I really wanted to see the donkers, okay?
Mario, why do you love me?
Mario loves you? He definitely doesn't love me.
Do you not know this?
Oh, is this like a bit? Is this a thing?
It's a meme. This guy commented. This guy commented on a YouTube video, Mario, why do you love me? And a YouTube channel called Super Mario with Mario as their profile picture replied, because you are wonderful.
Oh.
And then replied again and said, Mario loves you very much.
Oh boy, I love that.
Mario,
the internet's great.
Why do you love me? Because you are wonderful. I quote that to a friend of mine all the time.
As you should. That's amazing.
It's because you are wonderful. Mario loves you very much.
Very much. Very much.
I adore that. It's like, it brings me unadulterated happiness.
The internet's great. I don't know what we would... yeah, I guess that's fair to say. It's just like such a marvel. Like, you can do anything on the internet, and you can see things that you never would have ever seen otherwise.
Sometimes things you don't want to see.
Oh, plenty of those too. Yes, let's be truthful about that.
And
plenty of those too.
Sometimes things you didn't know you do want to see. Like a YouTube comment of somebody saying, Mario loves you very much.
Exactly. It's something you didn't know you needed in your life.
This morning, so I woke up at 3:45 this morning because I was in Europe all week, so my sleep schedule is brumdangled.
As it is, yeah.
But my brother and his husband are still living in London right now. And you know the app Be Real?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like new Snapchat.
My brother-in-law took a Be Real, but he sneezed during the Be Real.
Oh, no.
And my brother sent the photo in our family group chat. And I swear to God, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. It was like 5 a.m. here when they sent it, and I cried laughing for like...
That is amazing.
Like, genuinely the funniest thing I've ever seen. I'll send it to you later, Dangers, but I'm not going to send somebody's Be Real to the masses.
Right.
But just please know that it is genuinely the funniest picture I've ever seen.
Just like candid mid-sneeze. Like, what could be better than that? I can only imagine.
It looks like an Instagram or Snapchat face filter, but no one could ever have made this.
Right.
No AI or person could ever have dreamed this thing into existence.
Until now, anyway.
Until now, and it's just so splendid.
All right. Will I achieve the impossible and get this trick 2 runs in a row?
Yes.
I sure hope so.
Me too.
Me 3. And if I don't, I have something to show the viewers at home anyway. So something that just popped into my head that I think is kind of fun. Okay, well, I did not get the cap bounce that I wanted, so I guess I'm going to be showing that thing now. So roll cancel clips are a thing where you can like do a roll cancel, which is a very complicated... There's a lot to unpack here. Roll canceling, you roll and then you cancel. Yes, chef. You can do it on like the surface of water to go out of bounds sometimes, like right here. But the fun part about this is that for some reason, like Cappy's just kind of like out there. I don't know what he's doing out there because he's supposed to be right there, right? But he's actually over there. Who knows why? But anyway, I thought I would just share that.
That would be a great Luigi's balloon hunt location.
The funny thing is that people were using things like roll cancel clips and stuff in Luigi's Balloon World, and that's part of the reason why when the 1.2 patch came out, they tried to make them harder to do, and some of them became impossible. Some of them. It didn't stop people from going out of bounds to hide Luigi hint arts, though. Or Luigi balloons. People still did it. And then they did what they should have done. When 1.3 came out, they actually did release a patch for Luigi's Balloon World as well, that like the game can detect if the balloon is in a place that it's not supposed to be.
Yeah, I feel like that's what they should have just done the whole time.
That's what I'm saying. And like it's an argument to be made for like patching cool things that casuals aren't going to find out of speedruns in the first place. Like nobody who's playing the game casually is going to be like rolling full speed at a wall and then know how to cancel that roll with the perfect timing that they're just going to slip through it. Like that's not a thing. Like that you have to be a speedrunner to know how to do that kind of stuff. And so why patch that particular instance when you can just be like, oh, is balloon outside of game area? Yes. Okay, please hide again.
Okay, well, I'm sure the code's not that simple.
No, of course not. But
but
I guess just an argument to be said about like limiting what can be done if it doesn't hamper the casual experience, right?
Yes, but we can have this argument ad infinitum, and we will never convince Japanese game developers that it's okay to have glitches in your game.
Especially not Nintendo, yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo and FromSoft are like, if you find a glitch in our game, we will find you. We will destroy you.
We will burn your console.
It's like, it's so interesting to me that it does seem to be a thing. But yeah, I also, frankly, I understand removing OOB balloons from Luigi's Balloon Hunt or whatever, because like ultimately children would be like, where is it? And like spend hundreds of coins trying to find this balloon.
And again, like, that is that's a genuine hamper on the casual experience, right?
But at the same time, like, it's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
I like the idea that there are balloons that are so hard to find that you need to have such a core understanding of everything in the game. Is so cool to me. And I remember seeing videos of OOB balloons and just being like mesmerized by the idea that it's not speedrunning, but it is tangential.
Yeah.
Because you have to be fast. It's great.
Yeah, I think this game in particular is just like it's fascinating how much staying power it had for all different reasons. Like I think the speedrunning community is a pretty solid core of like gamers who are not casual playing this game and playing it in a way that maybe wasn't intended. But it also has so many different kinds of offshoots because you have people who do stuff like trick jumping, which is like people just creatively coming up with like, can I get Mario from this ledge to that one all the way over there? And like, I just have to whip out all of the potential moves that Mario has to make it happen. Is it possible? And like, a community going so far as to like grade their difficulty and stuff like that. There's a whole Discord server dedicated to just Super Mario Odyssey trick jumping, or the little mini games that exist in Super Mario Odyssey, like the Koopa free running. People trying to bring down those times as much as they can, and like the crazy level of optimization, because like it makes sense if a Super Mario Odyssey speedrun is an hour long, it's gonna be pretty optimized if you have like 29 minutes of gameplay or something like that. But if you're only doing like a 20-second segment, then that thing can be, you can just hammer away at those for like 5 hours and have done it like hundreds of times already. So those things get super optimized. And watching like the Koopa free running world records and stuff is like very fascinating in terms of like movement, and like they'll obviously go for things. It's like the difference between doing like an individual level versus doing a full game speedrun. And yeah, like the tricks that they go for, the stuff that they kind of like put on the line to try and get the best times is very fascinating stuff. And all kind of spawned outwards from speedrunning itself.
The trick jumps
really cool.
Are amazing.
Yes.
The like thing where you like buffer with the camera to like get precise. I don't even know what's going on when they do that, but
yes. Yeah, it's all crazy stuff. And like
it's kind of the same thing with like in Breath of the Wild, there are combat specialists who like aren't speedrunners. These people go viral on Twitter like every month. And I'm sure it'll start happening with Tears of the Kingdom. It does. Right now it's mostly just people making cool contraptions.
Yeah, the engineering. Yeah.
But in Breath of the Wild it was like proper combat specialists who like could do all the speedrun glitches, but not for use of going fast, just for use of doing like really wild combat things. And I would see things from Japanese combat specialist players, and I've put hundreds and hundreds of hours, thousands of hours into Breath of the Wild speedrunning stuff, and I had never seen some of the things they were doing because it wasn't useful for speedrunning because it doesn't go fast. In fact, quite the opposite sometimes. But it was just amazing the things that they were doing.
And just like super flashy, like almost like, you know, when a movie has to like choreograph like a one-on-one like combat scene and like the, you know,
right, like
a real life sword fight is probably just like throw sword at and like hope that you cut them or something. But like when it's for a movie, like you make it all cinematic and like it has to be choreographed and stuff like that. It feels like that's what they're doing in those videos. It's like super cool to watch.
And a lot of them, like the ones that went viral like a year or two ago, were all the ones where they would like shoot an arrow and then get a bullet time bounce. And follow the arrow to its destination.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I love that.
That's super cool. And like just the level of precision that you have to have, and like you kind of wonder like how many times did they have to try this?
Right, which is the same thing people wonder with speedrunning.
Yep, exactly.
It's exactly the same. It's just practice and refinement of a different aspect of the game.
Okay, despite that bonk, I think we're still on pace to have another run going again. So that's pretty cool. We love to see that. As a sword fighter, there's a lot more than just throwing a sword. Yes, of course, I was dramatically simplifying what actually happens in sword fighting.
No, like, when you say things, that's it. There's no hidden meaning. Sarcasm is fake. Implied evidence is fake.
Exaggeration is illegal.
These things aren't real. What you say is what you get, okay?
What you say is what you mean, verbatim.
Mm-hmm. The last thing you'd want on your Burger King burger
is foot fungus.
Is someone's foot fungus. But as it turns out, that's actually what you get.
You got the cadence perfect there.
My freshman year college roommate and I would watch that video every day.
Yeah.
We'd be doing homework, and then one of us would just throw it up without telling it, and then we just hear, number 15, Burger King.
Burger King foot lettuce.
Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you want on your Burger King burger is somebody's foot fungus. But as it turns out, that's actually what you get.
Every time. Man, I love that era of YouTube.
I know.
Oh boy. What a time to be alive.
Somebody's made an AI voice of him, I think. Probably against his will.
Yeah, as AI tends to be.
But it is funny. For now.
For now, yeah, for now. Until they take over.
Yeah, then it won't be fun anymore.
Yo, the numbers are green. Let's go. We can continue.
Let's go.
I love playing Super Mario Odyssey for more than 5 minutes at a time.
Oh my god.
Let's go. Yeah, so I don't know. It just kind of popped into my brain to talk about like the language settings and stuff. So Super Mario Odyssey, like in the past, if you wanted to play on like the fastest version of the game and it just so happened to be the Japanese version, then you would typically have to like go out of your way to buy the cartridge and stuff like that. Like Super Mario World's a great example. Like, you know, you can't just change the language in the settings of Super Mario World, like it's localized and stuff. But luckily, the advancement of technology and the rapid globalization of things makes it so that most games do have language settings built right into them. So we don't actually need a different version of the game to play at all. And yeah, I think it's like 17 seconds between English and Chinese. So a pretty significant amount of time. It is funny though. We were talking about how like daylight savings time abuse is a thing. And it's kind of, it always strikes me that it's weird we didn't find out sooner. because like I'm pretty sure the daylight savings time abuse thing was kind of put together and implemented in early 2020, and the game had already been out for like 2.5 years. When really it's as simple as like, oh, those seeds actually use the switch clock, don't they? Oh yeah, they do, of course. Like it took us so long to get there, and it kind of reminds me of another thing where we were playing in Japanese for a very long time because we just assumed that it was the fastest language to use. I guess we didn't really do any comprehensive testing on that because, yeah, Chinese ended up being faster by like half a second or something. So it's speedrunners are very, very brilliant when it comes to discovering stuff, but other times it's just like amazing what kinds of things slip through the cracks instead.
It's always fun when a glitch gets discovered after a game's been out for like 15 years and it's like so obvious.
Yep.
You're like, how did we not find this? I feel like OOT has stuff like that every year.
Yeah.
Like somebody will discover something in OOT and I'm like, how we can literally rewrite the game's code from within the game and we didn't know that rolling here does this. Like,
yeah, Super Mario 64 is like that too. It is amazing to me that people are still discovering new stuff for Super Mario 64 to this day.
Dude, to sort of, expound upon the like niche speedrunning related endeavors in games, SM64 has probably the most famous self-imposed the low A press.
Oh yes,
completely reinvigorated a side of glitch hunting in that game. I mean, Pan and Koek's desire to minimize A presses has like spawned multiple computer science degrees. Like, several people have gone into the field of computer science because they were a part of the A button challenge. Like, it's wild. It's nuts, the lengths that they have gone to just press a green button fewer times. And I remember, we still joke about it now, but 7-8 years ago, how can it only be half of an A press is an A press? And now they're going into parallel universes.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Just all for the passion of a game, too. That's the craziest part about it.
Yeah.
Like, I think more fascinating than just, like, watching a run happen at GDQ for a game I've never seen before is just, like, knowing that there's an entire world of, like, time and energy and passion put into it behind the scenes. Like, you love this game as much as I love Super Mario Odyssey, which means that you love it a whole damn lot. And like you can say that just about every game out there. There is someone so passionate about it that they have like busted it wide open like that. Like that's the cool part for me, is that there are people who have just such a passion for just about every game that's ever been made.
Oh, the N64A button is blue. That's right. I was thinking
that's true. Yeah, the B button is green. Yeah, like, you could be watching a run of, like, NES Kickmaster. And, like, you'd be like, wow, this speedrun looks neat. But there is a Discord server somewhere with, like, not as many people as the Odyssey server, sure, but, like, probably 20 people who are like, Kickmaster is my thing. Like, yeah.
I want to talk about Kickmaster. I mean, it is a dope game. But, like, yeah, exactly. There is some passionate force behind almost every speedrun, even if it's just one person.
That's true, yeah. It can be one person's passion project.
Right, they've undoubtedly put work into it, so.
Mm-hmm. All right, if we get the triple jump clip here, we are in not a bad spot, to be honest. And then we just got to have a clean wooded kingdom, which is the funniest joke I've told all day. Okay, I missed that. So we're not in a good spot. I lied. Everything's bad. Everything's terrible.
No.
It's okay. Nice clean backup.
That is like... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that's like the traditional lake clip there, using the corner to clip through instead.
Traditional.
Yes.
As if it's been around forever.
Yeah, the classic. Everybody knows it. Discovered in 1845. Sorry, what were you saying?
Somebody in chat said, quote, I pity the Superman 64 fans. I don't, because
I don't at all.
They're passionate about something weird.
That's
like,
right.
That's sick. Sometimes I think about how, like, I know I'm probably in the top 1,000th percentile of knowers about, like, really useless garbage.
Right.
Like, the TikToks I've been making are basically born out of that concept. Like, I have no shortage of ideas for the videos because I just know all these dumb things that nobody knows, and they're completely worthless and useless, but I'm glad I know them.
Yeah, and I mean, by making little TikToks like that, it might open somebody's eyes to wanting to be in that same position that you're in, where it's like, oh my God, that's fascinating. I don't know or care why, but it is.
Right. Yeah, a bunch of people commented on the one I did about Jotwad, which is this like really useless Twilight Princess speedrun.
Yeah.
A bunch of people commented on it, and they were like, "Well, thank you." They were like, "Why do I like this?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "I don't know. I can't tell you. I have no idea, but it's really interesting."
That's right. Yeah.
Like, I don't know why I care so much about knowing what the memory values are storing in Ocarina of Time's menu system, but I do care.
Yeah. And like from the outside, you can just watch. Like Gymnast, I think, is a great example of someone who is very, very clearly extremely passionate about how Zelda games work, and like it shows in the videos that they make on YouTube, because they'll have like 30 minutes a video describing this thing that a casual player will literally never, ever, 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 ever experience playing through a Zelda game, and it just exists there. It's a whole world also, kind of under the surface.
I think is backed up by his clear intelligence. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, he's clearly a very hyper intelligent person. And it's just, I mean, I think the biggest thing about it, and this is also like, I feel like the biggest piece of advice you can get as a creator is like, the reason that watching Gymnast videos are so captivating, when he's like, you know, a 35-minute documentary about this one trick in Skyward Sword that we can't find, like, the reason that's so captivating is because he's passionate about it. And I feel like that probably seems obvious, but like, the only reason he knows that much stuff about that thing is because he is passionate about it.
Yes.
And passionate also about disseminating the information. And it's just, you know, that's sort of what I'm aiming to do as well, is just like, I want to talk about the things I'm passionate about. And people resonate with that, or that resonates with people, rather.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No matter what you're doing in life, whether it's watching professional sports, or like watching a Twitch channel, or watching YouTube videos about how to make sourdough bread, like the video is more interesting if the person is clearly passionate about the thing. Like, which video is more interesting? I'll give you 2 sourdough bread videos. Like a sourdough bread video that just tells you how to do it, and it's just like step by step and nothing really happens. Are you really going to remember it? Or are you going to remember the one where some guy is like, "What's up, guys? I can't wait to tell you about this wacky recipe I discovered." Like, you know, he's in the sourdough bread Discord. He's got the sourdough bread. He's got 50 starters in his garage that he's working on. Like, that's maybe...
He paves the streets of his driveway with like the crust of sourdough bread.
He's a sourdough bread guy.
Hey, that's him.
Like, that video might be longer than you need to just learn how to make it. But like, it's way more interesting,
Exactly.
and way more captivating, because it's nice to watch people that are passionate about something, which is why when politicians are so clearly soulless, it's like, come on, man. Like, when a politician comes forward and they're like really fighting for something interesting, and like they really care about it, and they have a lived experience, it just resonates better.
Absolutely.
Or like how an author who writes a book about somebody that is living a completely different lived experience than what they have, it's like less interesting because they don't have a viewpoint and they're not truly passionate about it.
Yeah.
Not that it can't be done, but
it's just it's easy to see, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought I was gonna bonk there.
Oh, this is a great point. Somebody talking about Nardwuar versus other music interviewers. I mean, Nardwuar's a weird guy, but like, do you know who this is, Dangers?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Well, he's Canadian, so you have to.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's only like 6 of us, so it's kind of weird that I don't. But anyway.
Oh, someone comments, I think we get the point. Nice. Very epic contribution to the conversation. I'm sure you're the life of parties, and everybody loves being around you. Nardwar is this journalist, I guess. He's this very wacky person that I'm sure is playing a heightened version of himself. Like, I'm sure it's a character. Rooted in some amount of reality. He's a very bizarre guy who interviews musicians.
Okay.
And I'll shut up for a second while you do this.
We'll see if I can. I actually think I got it.
That looked good.
Let's
Pog.
go.
Huge. Sick.
Getting it on the GDQ stage. Let's go. I'm actually really stoked about that.
That is so sick, dude. Can we get some claps in the chat, dude? That is so sick.
It's so funny because like my gold for anybody uninitiated in the chat is like the best you've ever done a segment, not the run, but just a segment, right? So my Wooded Kingdom gold is now in the point where like I can't keep up with it if I don't get that trick, but it tends to be the thing that I use to be like, okay, well, my Wooded Kingdom has sucked up until this point. Give me 6 seconds back because I need it. And, I've been landing it like 50-50, which is really nice. So considering it's a frame-perfect trick in a 60 FPS game, and your position has to be good, and your direction has to be good, I'm like, yeah, it's still to this day so satisfying to get.
Do you... I feel like I never see you, especially these days. I mean, there are people who are sort of in the school of thought that like runs are the best practice. But do you feel like you're still at a point where like you're practicing frequently?
Yeah, absolutely. But it tends to be, well, I think it's kind of, it depends on like what stage of speedrunning you're in. Spike and I have this conversation all the time where like speedrunning is, if you're like really passionate about it and you're trying to improve your game, you tend to go through like different phases. The first phase is like learning. So like you'll want to learn tricks, you'll want to learn routes, you'll want to learn all this stuff. And then like putting it into practice because it's so new and all this information overload, you kind of need to like get used to the information. So the second stage is like getting that stuff consistently, which is where the practice kind of comes in. It's like you just need to, if something is troubling you, if you are finding that you're like not getting a certain trick or a certain movement, you just need to kind of hammer it in over and over again. And runs can help with that, but I think that if it's like one specific segment that keeps nagging you, then you should just like kind of buckle down and do that. So like if you learn a new trick, then you just do the trick over and over again. If it's like a kingdom that's troubling you because the movement's really tricky, maybe you'll just do that one kingdom. That's kind of where I'm at right now, is like building the consistency. Like we said at the beginning, like my sum of best and my PB are so far apart from each other compared to other top runners. There we go, got the vault. That it's because of the consistency, because the golds are showing that I can do all these tricks. Hello? Thank you. I was definitely ground pounding the golden spot. You saw that, right?
I'm really confused by that.
This game is fun and very fair all the time. So yeah, like my sum of best is saying, yeah, you can do all these tricks. You've seen it done before. You just need to do them all in one run consistently, and that's the hard part right now. So but when you're in the learning stage, you're kind of just like doing the trick until it feels correct, and then consistency, maybe you'll like broaden it up to doing like a kingdom's worth of practice at a time and seeing if you can kind of put it all together. And that's, I feel like, the kind of practice that I've been doing the most lately. But I think just doing runs is maybe only really good, solid practice by itself if you're like just starting out with a game, maybe, because once you finally kind of hit a plateau doing runs, you're going to get diminishing returns on just doing runs, right?
Right.
That's my opinion anyway.
I would agree. That vectoring there is so impressive to me every time, and I feel like it maybe doesn't really look like anything to people who've never run the game.
Oh,
but like
okay.
Even in my minimal speedrunning, like that specific vectoring is like so sick.
There's so much going on there because first of all, you have to give your hat away, so you are handicapping yourself by not having like half of your move pool, basically, which is awkward, especially if you're kind of used to using Cappy to save yourself. Then you jump over literal instant death poison to get to the place that you're going. You need to land on the log, but you can't like dive directly at it because the cage is like, you can bonk on the cage and then you'll miss and then you'll end up in the poison anyway. There's just like so much going on with that. So yeah, it definitely is one of those things that looks a lot simpler than it is. All right, so we made it out of Lost Kingdom. Plus 20 is much better than plus 40 like we were earlier. So I think this probably has a pretty good shot because we're starting to enter some of the kingdoms that have the time save. So as long as I play clean, we'll start kind of crawling our way back into this one.
All you need to know about Nardwuar, just to close this, he just does like an incredibly in-depth amount of research about the musicians that he's interviewing.
That's great.
The juxtaposition of he's really weird and very silly, and then asks incredibly thought-provoking questions that like dig deep into the artist's past, results in these really fun little interactions that go hyper viral, where, a very serious rapper gets asked by the strangest man you've ever seen a question he's never been asked before.
Right. Yeah, I love that kind of content because it makes it personal and it makes it interesting. It's very clear that they've done their research. Mm-hmm. You know who else does that? I don't remember the name of the channel, but it's like, as soon as I describe it to you, you'll be like, oh yeah, that channel. It's the guy who does like the Hot Ones challenge.
Yeah,
with,
Hot Ones.
Like, yeah, is the channel just called Hot Ones?
I think it's technically called First We Feast because that's the name of the company. But yeah, Sean Evans.
Right. So yeah, whoever does the interviewing for that is also really brilliant at exactly that thing.
Yeah, Sean Evans is incredible, and there's all those compilations where celebrities are like, "How do you know that?"
Yeah. Exactly. And I mean, it's a silly show where an actor sits down and they're talking about a movie that might be coming out or something like that, and they're just eating really hot wings, and like obviously it's juxtaposed with them being in pain and stuff. But then the questions that come out is like, yeah, you really did your research, huh? Like you really cared about finding out the nitty gritty details and like getting really into it. I love that stuff. Yeah,
it's the same thing with Nardwuar. Like watching Lil Uzi Vert being like, "How the hell do you know that about me?" is just so entertaining. Yeah, it's great. I think it's also it's part of that is that desire that we all have to like have that moment of like, oh, celebrities are just like me.
Yeah, the relatability element.
Right, the relatability of them being like, oh my God, how do you know that about that album I liked when I was 10? And you're like, oh, they were a kid too once. Like, we eat that up.
Absolutely.
Also, I just want to say, and I pray that anybody gets this reference, Hot Pepper Gaming walked so that Hot Ones could run.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that reference, but now you've got me curious.
It's a YouTube channel from the like early to mid 2010s that has since stopped uploading, where online personalities would eat a really hot pepper and then try to review a new video game.
Amazing. Is that channel still out there? Surely, right?
I think the videos are still there.
Whether they're actually making any more or not.
I think they stopped uploading like 5 or 6 years ago.
Gotcha.
Love that trick.
Yep. You like physically have to turn your controller upside down in order to make that one work too, which is... okay, Mario, what are you doing? Which is just the most fascinating thing. It's another one of those like hidden motion control type things. The game doesn't tell you that you can bias the scooter even more if you like actually lean into it, which is funny because like I know so many people, like everybody will admit to like playing a racing game or something and like trying to lean into the turns and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like that actually genuinely kind of exists in Odyssey with the scooter, which is kind of funny. Of course, as a speedrunner, you don't do that. You just like turn the controller, but
in Breath of the Wild, there are wind bombs called turn bombs where you have to really quickly turn the camera, and the camera can be turned with the gyroscope when you're aiming your throw weapon.
Right.
And you have to like physically flick your arms to like do it. I'm gonna blame me for that.
No, that was me getting a cap return jump when I wasn't expecting one. So it's a Mario moment.
Hashtag Mario moment.
Hashtag Mario moment. I guess since we're here,
OTEP.
OTEP. Oh, we did have the bench friend. We kind of glossed over bench friend.
That's okay.
You really like the holidays, right?
Holidays.
Yeah, that one. That is actually a bench friend exclusive. I found out recently.
Bench friend exclusive.
The only donker who says holidays is bench friend himself.
Wait, the depressed man.
Holidays. Yep.
What
the
is
depressed man?
What is the impetus for that?
I
When
don't
does
know.
he say this?
I think it's either one of the ones that he says like after you've already sat down with him, or it's one of them for sure. I think he's got like 4 or 5 voice lines, and they're all unique to him specifically.
Holidays. I have that one on my stream deck. Hot.
Yeah. That's a good one. We love that.
What other ones do I like?
There's one. There's one that's literally just like, oh yeah, he won that.
There's like 3 or 4 he won dots, and they're all good.
Yes. There's one where it's just the female donker, and she lets out this like just guttural scream.
Oh yeah, the like blood curdling scream one.
It's just like it's a really short and sharp like wah! And it's like it's just the best.
You and I are probably 2 of the only living creatures who have listened to every single one.
Yeah.
Because I found that database.
Yep, you sure
and
did.
sent it to you.
And then we put it on our soundboards, and oh
Here we
man,
are.
it's done things to my brain because like before, I wouldn't have had any way of knowing like, you know, I hear the donker sounds all the time. Am I gonna get this? Oh, I am. Okay.
I did
I
not
might
know
not
that
make
was
it in time.
possible. That's sick. Oh!
There it goes. I thought I would give it a try. That's what I was saying like halfway through the kingdom. I was like, yeah, we might as well give this a try and see if we can do it. But
Well, we can quickly take our second break and then do a no reset.
that sounds great. Let's do that.
All right, gamers, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more PB Precipice and more Super Mario Odyssey for a no reset run all the way through in just a little bit here. Stick around. Yo, what's up, gamers? Welcome back to PB Precipice. Yeah, I can't do that.
You practicing your YouTube intro, Zeta?
Yeah, what's up, guys? Like and subscribe. Some announcements really quick. Oh, actually, why don't we start the run and I'll do the announcements as we start.
You got 30 seconds.
Okay. Frame Fatales is Games Done Quick's all-women online speedrunning community. The upcoming event, Flame Fatales, will run from August 13th to the 20th. The schedule will be released July 6th. Go to gamesdonequick.com/framefatales for more information. But this is PB Precipice. And Dangers is going to do a no-reset Super Mario Odyssey any percent speedrun for all of you in about 12 seconds. And
That's
it's gonna blow your minds. It's gonna pop your gourds. It's gonna wiggle your wanglers. Oh no!
I don't think you're allowed to say that on the cheat.
I'm gonna stop talking now.
I am unwell.
I did not mean to say that. Sometimes I just let my brain go, and what comes out is not real words, but they sure seem like real words.
What happens in hour 3 of PB Precipice stays in hour 3 of PB
That's
Precipice.
right. You're damn right it does.
So we're going to do a no reset now. Again, DSTA, the daylight savings time abuse trick, and Dino skip make for this a very unforgiving beginning part of the run. And usually when I do no resets on my own channel, I will say it's not a no reset until we get to sand. But for the time restraint that we are currently under, we will continue, and we'll just have to suck up the time loss if we do have a bad cascade. But that's okay. It's all in good fun. I will be basically like taking a break after the show to eat food, and if you are really curious and continuing to watch the grind for a new PB, then you can just kind of hop on over to my channel afterwards, because I'll be doing it all night basically. So
if you don't follow Dangers on Twitch right now, your wangler will not ever be wiggled. This is true. This is actually true. Now, I do want to say, just as a disclaimer, that neither wangler nor, well, wiggled is a real word, but wangler is not a real word. So any of you interpreting that dirtily, you need to get your mind out of the gutter, because it doesn't mean anything. So.
that's right.
And if Spike Vegeta is allowed to say half the garbage he says on this stream, then I can say that.
You can say Wangler, damn it.
Yeah. Mr. Vegeta really be out here saying,
okay, I'm resetting this one. I'm sorry. I have to go
what?
back to
No, Dangers, we can't. There's no time.
It's 2 seconds, 2 minutes.
It's 2 seconds.
It'll take me 2 seconds, I promise. Don't pay attention to the whole waiting 45 thing. That's not real. It's fake.
Okay, that's your last reset, okay? You're banned now from resetting.
That was my as I call it in my stream, my Wangler card that I'm playing on the field.
I played my Wangler.
On the field.
You put your Wangler on the field? I don't know that that's allowed.
Well, you need to get your mind out of the gutter now, because Wangler's not what you think.
No, it's just a banned card.
Exactly, banned card. Yeah, it's like the Pot of Greed in Yu-Gi-Oh. Not allowed. Shouldn't use it. Bad.
Pot of Greed is banned for good reason.
Yeah, it sure is.
just you play one card and you get 2 new ones. Like there's no penalty and no cost.
Just stack your deck with a bunch of them, and there you go.
Well, there has always been a rule in Yu-Gi-Oh that you cannot have more than 3 of any card in your deck. But then there are limitations further.
There are cards that let you put stuff back in your deck, though. Surely, right?
There are cards that let you retrieve things from your graveyard after you've played them. But then there are further limitations. So then there's limited and like semi-limited, where you can only have 2 or 1 of a card, and then there's forbidden, which means you're not allowed to have any of them in your deck. So Pot of Greed is on the forbidden list. But then like other cards might be on the limited or semi-limited or whatever it's called.
Right. But it's always obviously Yu-Gi-Oh! Made the card, so it was the community that probably decided what is and isn't allowed?
Nope.
No.
So Konami prints the cards, right, and designs them or whatever. But then every season or like every couple months, Konami releases the official forbidden list that updates what is forbidden, what's limited, what's semi-limited, and they oftentimes will take things off the forbidden list. So like when I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Religiously in the early 2010s, because I'm really cool and often get my Wangler wiggled.
As you do.
There were certain cards that were on the forbidden list that made complete sense to be there, that by the time I came back a little bit in 2021, they weren't there anymore. Like you could have them again because the meta had evolved or changed or whatever. And no doubt sometimes cards are put on or off to sell more cards. But sometimes it's just truly the meta has changed. Yeah, it's pretty interesting actually.
That is interesting, yeah. It's the fact that they are actually kind of moderating the rule set for their own game. But then it does beg the question, like, with a card that broken, why did they make it in the first place?
Because in the early days of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards were just out here doing, like, really unbelievable stuff.
I mean, the anime definitely plays into that a little bit, I think, right? Like, some of the gotcha moments that the anime has where it's like, but you've activated, like, literally, you've activated my trap card. Like, you know, that probably has something to do with it as well, if I had to guess.
Pot of Greed is currently forbidden.
Yeah.
As it has been for a long time. But for instance, there was a card called Dark Hole, AO, that was forbidden when I played in the early 2010s, but is not forbidden anymore. It just destroys every card on the field.
You want to be real careful wangling around there.
That's what I've been told. Is Raigeki not on the forbidden list anymore? Wow. And a lot of the reason, you know, like some of these spell cards that were forbidden because they were so broken. Nice.
Okay.
God, that's so clean when it like all flows.
Yeah, it's just like it's so fluid, so nice. Right up to the top of the kingdom. It's almost like, you know, I say this about like Super Mario World especially. Sometimes I feel like the levels were designed to flow outside of like the intended ways. The greatest example of that is like if you can picture in your head Yoshi's Island 2. No, Yoshi's Island 3, sorry. It's the level that's got like those big swinging like platforms that like spin in a circle. Do you know what I mean? Like you stand on them and the weight of Mario makes them like shift.
Yeah.
That level doesn't really give you an opportunity to build P-speed anywhere, but if you happen to start the level by running to the right and then jumping on top of the information block that they give you there, you can keep P-speed all the way through the level. And it's like, did they do that on purpose? Like, is that... It almost feels like too good to be true that like that particular block would help you do that. And sometimes, you know, I wonder things about like that in Odyssey too. It's like, obviously they did not intend for you to use that little polygon, but like just the way that it flows sometimes is like, it's almost too good to be true.
I feel that way about glitches in Ocarina of Time sometimes. I'm like, this feels too good to be true.
Yeah.
There are those little coincidences that let glitches work where it's like a tertiary, like it's a 3-step. Like, well, if this weren't there, and if this weren't there, and if this weren't the way it is, this wouldn't work.
All the stars truly aligning.
Like, oh, it just so happens that this load zone is still here, and that it's like this, and we can access it this way, and because of that, or whatever.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, the reason Pot of Greed is forbidden is because there's no limit to... Like, you can play it for free. There's no cost. Like in Magic, where you might have to tap it or something. Like there's no cost. You just get you get 2 cards that aren't Pot of Greed potentially from your deck. And I think the biggest argument for why it's banned is because there's no reason not to have it. Like if there's a card that ubiquitously, no matter what deck you're running, you should have at least 1 Pot of Greed, then probably it should be banned.
Yeah, because it's pretty game-breaking if it's like mandatory, I suppose, right?
Yeah. Like yeah. I feel that way about hand traps currently, but now this is a Yu-Gi-Oh discussion that we don't need to get into. Like us talking about Max C is not Super Mario Odyssey content.
Someone in chat is asking who is on commentary.
I don't know.
I don't know. He just kind of showed up. I was like playing Odyssey. GDQ was like, "Yo, can we just like watch you play?" And then this guy showed up. He's pretty cool though.
This guy's just jumping into Discord servers. Remember when people would Zoom bomb at the beginning of the pandemic? Like people would just go into Zoom calls.
Yes, I do remember that. Amazing. What a time to be alive. Not necessarily a very good one, let's be real, but it was a time to be alive.
I had fun streaming in that era.
That's true. Me too. It did a whole lot for people who wanted to make it a living, like myself.
It sure did. It sure did.
A lot of people suddenly had a lot of reason to stay at home and not do a whole lot, except for maybe have Twitch streams on. So
I would not be where I am if not, you know, for that era.
I think that's probably true for me as well. I kind of like I even took the luck one step further, if you may, because like I was working at a cafe and kind of just doing this on the side, and it was already kind of picking up for me to a place where I was like, yeah, you know, I kind of want to give this whole full-time thing a try. So like in January, I quit the cafe. This is 2020. January, I quit the cafe, and then 2 months later is when everything shut down. So I really couldn't have gotten out of service at a better time, truly.
Yeah, that is really quite lucky.
Yeah, I count my blessings on that every day. And then it just kept doing well. So, I mean, here we are.
Yeah, I just so happened to be taking streaming more seriously when the pandemic began. Like, it was just... I've been streaming forever, but it's the first time where I was like, I'm going to stream all the time. And then the pandemic started, yeah, about 2 months later.
And here we are today, talking about Yu-Gi-Oh!
Talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! In front of 2,000 people.
Yeah, even little stuff like that, I mean, is pretty fluid motions and stuff like that too, but so much goes into that I could probably, I could pull a gymnast and like spend 10 minutes explaining everything that goes into what you just saw happen there.
You should.
But in 10 minutes, we'll be in a completely different kingdom.
No, I don't mean now. I mean, make a YouTube video.
Make YouTube videos about movement and stuff, yeah.
This Super Mario Odyssey jump contains I don't know, I'm bad at titles. This jump is gonna wangle your wiggler.
Did you need your wingle wangled? Because I sure did.
Watch this video about Yu-Gi-Oh!
They talk about Yu-Gi-Oh?
Wow.
That's my reaction too. Wow.
Wow.
Put an adequate face on the thumbnail, and you got a banger right there.
That's what I've been told. Put an adequate face on the thumbnail, and you've got a banger right there.
That's all it takes.
So I've been told. Talk about Adef's uncle, Martin Yu-Gi-Oh! We're not introducing new lore. We can't.
We can talk about old lore, though. How's your uncle doing these days?
He's doing well, and I have to tell you, I'm wearing a Martin baseball hat right now.
Very good.
And I gotta
representing
tell you,
the family.
I love this hat.
It's great. It's like old school baseball cap.
Yeah, I wanted it to look... And also, it's just funny because I'm wearing a baseball hat with a picture of a baseball on it.
As you do, yeah.
Which I thought was comical.
Because you can call it a baseball cap, and that's what it is.
It's the Martin baseball hat.
That's right. You could even just reduce the redundancy. Just call it the Martin baseball hat, and everybody understands.
Mm-hmm. You don't know about the Martin baseball hat, Ray?
Oh, boy.
Yeah. It's on my merch store.
Yeah, Tantrum helped you put that together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tantrum's great.
You can get it. I highly recommend getting it in beige if you're going to get it in any color. The beige, or I guess it's called khaki. What I'm wearing right now, I think it complements it nicely. Adef, I need a picture. I'll just send you the website, right?
Yeah, get your Martin baseball hats today, gamers.
Official, unofficial PB Precipice merch. We are banned from Adef Cam. I did realize recently that I have not shown my face on my own shows in a while because PB Precipice is always right after I wake up on Sunday morning because of West Coast.
There it is.
There you go. And Challenger Approaching is always like, I've always just streamed, so I'm like tired. So I just never want to show my face. I used to, though. In the early days of both shows, I would like do a whole interview, show my face. It's probably good for the brand. It's probably bad for the brand that I don't show, but whatever.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
You're allowed to have moments where you don't want to be on camera, even if that is your entire job, basically.
I know. I hate eating on camera. I don't know if you feel that way.
I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of... once I started showing my face on camera, I was like, I don't care. I guess it's out there now, so I can do whatever. But
for some reason, there's something weird about like eating. It just feels very personal. I don't know how to describe
that's
it.
fair. Yeah.
But yeah, whatever. Hence the who is that guy on commentary? Fair. But the name is right there. It says Adef right there.
It's on the layout.
It's on the layout. Get a VTuber model. Yeah, I just don't really want to do that.
That's the strat. That's what I started doing. Is like, it's like a fun little incentive that I have in my stream to do it. Like, but if I'm genuinely having one of those days where I'm like, I do not feel okay with my face being looked at right now. Sometimes that happens. Then I can just have a day where the VTuber takes over and I get to be a bird on the internet and nobody has to know that I'm feeling that way.
That's fair. I've definitely toyed with the idea of a PNG tuber. But I don't know. I just so infrequently am I hiding my face at all that like it just doesn't feel worth it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I
guess
would use it if I had it.
Yeah. If you had it, for sure, of course. And I mean, it does make sense for someone who maybe like, dabbles in stuff like I do, like the furry community, for example, where like you actually do have a caricature of yourself that is not just yourself. So it does make more sense to have that. Or like Fant, for example, friend of the show. She's made her own like character and uses it to express herself even on the GDQ broadcast, which I absolutely adore that.
Yeah, could do an Aggron PNG tuber, but I'm not Aggron. I just love him.
You want him to be your husband?
Sure, yeah, I'll marry Aggron. Why not? think of the beautiful babies we would make.
Just the most gorgeous, absolutely.
No, I really just want to be his friend.
Yeah, hold his hand.
Yeah, I want him to carry me places.
He would do that very well, I think.
I think so. He's very strong.
And very tall.
He's very tall.
How tall is Aggron? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't know these stats. I probably should. I don't know. Do you know the weight and height of your favorite person?
My favorite person? Yes, but that's because they're my partner, so I guess that kind of has some merit.
Yeah, that's fine. He is 6'11" and 800 pounds.
Yeah, that's kind of hefty.
It feels light, actually. Like, I feel like he's made of rock and steel. He's very dense, but I don't know. What do I know? 6'11".
I mean, that's like only 10 feet taller, or not 10 feet, holy crap. Only 10 feet, only 1 foot taller than, like, the average person.
The average man.
I was expecting taller. Yeah, the average man, true.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think 6'11" makes sense, but for the weight really, it feels too light for me. I don't know.
Yeah. Solid rock and steel, only 800 pounds. There's a lot of weird ones in Pokemon, though, that just, like, don't make any sense.
That's true.
I guess they're all just a bunch of pixels at the end of the day anyway, so they can be however heavy they want to be.
And that's every individual Pokemon decides its own weight.
Dang. That could get out of hand.
Mr. Mime is about to devastate everyone.
Yeah. Now, are they just denser, or are they actually sized up to match the weight, or
No,
what's the deal there?
They just become denser.
Okay, yeah, okay. So you could have, like, Pichu that weighs 4,000 pounds.
Yeah, and starts having its own gravitational pull.
Yeah, exactly. Creating craters as it walks. And it's just this innocent little thing.
It is anime.
That's so anime.
That's so Raven.
Whoa. Is that an anime? I don't think so.
Wait, do you not? I guess you're from Canada. You maybe don't have That So Raven? I don't know.
No, we did. We definitely did on the Disney Channel.
Okay, you're okay. I didn't know if you were doing a bit or... Okay.
The best bits are the ones that you don't know, though. So
That's true.
I've accomplished my job.
That's right.
I can go home now.
Maybe Aggron went on a diet. Doesn't he just eat metal?
Yeah, how do you go on a diet from the one thing that you're known to eat?
He's eating more precious metals.
Yeah.
It's like rich food.
How can Aggron afford all of these things?
Because I pay for it for him.
You know what, Mario? I don't really appreciate what's going on right now. Could you please don't?
I'll buy Aggron anything he wants.
Not getting it this time, gamers. Oh, and there's some fuzzies down there that I didn't see. Very nice. All right, that was far less clean than the first time, unfortunately. So instead of saving 7 seconds, we're going to lose about 4,000. One for every pound the Pichu is.
What's your favorite Pokemon, Dangers?
It shifts around all the time, because sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that Pokemon exists. Okay, I like them a lot. But I think I've settled on Blaziken lately.
Blaziken's so cool. All 3 Gen 3 starters have great final evolutions.
Actually banging, yeah.
Like, I think, in my opinion, that is the best complete generation for, like, best final evolutions of starters. Like, I love Gen 1's final evos, like Blastoise, Blastoise, Charizard, and Venusaur are really cool. But I would say, overall, Gen 3 has the best 3 final evos.
I'd agree to that.
Like, Swampert is so cool. And Sceptile is cool, too.
And, like, the previous, like, evolution line, or I guess like the
middle?
stage 1 and stage 2. Those are all banging too. Like just solid across the board. Perfect 10.
I'm neutral. I did a whole tier list of every starter evolution, and my chat got so mad at me for basically every opinion I had. But I feel like I'm kind of neutral on the middle evolutions. I like the prime, like Torchic, Mudkip, and Trico are all great. Love Mudkip, obviously phenomenal. Torchic also great, but like, I don't know. Like Combuskin, Grovyle, and Marshtomp are all kind of like, no.
That's fair. Combuskin is like, I don't know. There's something like I understand it as like a transitioning from Torchic to Blaziken.
It's like a teenager.
Yeah,
it gives
awkward
big
teenager
vibes.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just as a standalone, it's like, okay, just a little awkward little guy.
I like Grovyle enough, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the best of the mid evolutions for that line.
Yeah,
for that gen.
I would say Gen 2 is on the weaker side for the first 3 generations. I still like the starters in Gen 2, but I would say it's definitely the weakest of the first 3 generations for sure.
Yes.
My chat hates me for my take on the Chikorita line.
Do you not like Chikorita?
I do not like Chikorita. I like Meganium a lot. I really like Meganium, mostly because I was a dinosaur kid. So if your Pokemon is shaped like a dinosaur, I am all in. I don't know if you've noticed, but Aggron is my favorite Pokemon.
That's right.
And he's very dinosaur-esque. Tyranitar is my second favorite Pokemon.
Mario just does things sometimes I don't understand.
He wanted to take a drink of the goop.
How does it taste, Chef?
Goopy.
So goopy.
Goopy.
Okay, so I got the tree. Yeah, we can just go here. Okay. Okay, Mario, what are you doing? Okay, Mario, what are you doing? This Lost Kingdom
he's hungry
certainly
for
is.
inputs.
He's so...
I'm so hungry.
There it is. Has to come out at least once.
One of my mods texted me. Let me just read it verbatim. Texted me while I was in Europe. I'll spare the obscenity that's in this text, but literally walking around work going, I'm so effing hungry because of you, WTF.
Because of you.
Yeah, because of me, because I'm always saying I'm so hungry.
Very good. You can blame Christopher Walken then, personally.
I blame Christopher Walken for most of my problems.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Ever since that video, that Fatboy Slim music video came out, just nothing's been right in my life. Because I've just been trying to be as cool as that, and it's just not possible.
It really isn't. With like Christopher Walken not saying a single word, even though he's kind of known for saying things, and he's just like floating around. What is it, like a hotel lobby?
Yeah, it's like a hotel lobby. I love that video.
Yeah, it's a banger.
Don't grab the worm.
All right, so PB is looking pretty, how do I say, impossible at this point. So that's okay, though, because it actually kind of allows me to just go for some things that I wouldn't if the run was still on PB pace. Like, we'll probably do a different route in Snow Kingdom that shows off a trick that I'm still not very consistent at. So that's exciting. And also that thing that I tried to do in Metro Kingdom, I will probably try to do again. Hopefully with more success this time. This whole like City Hall section as well is like just like such a delight to watch.
It's
that
a
beginning
delight
part.
to watch, but I hate this last jump. I hate this long
Yes.
jump with my entire being.
Watching it or doing it?
Doing it.
Yes, because the camera is like
yes.
very fixed to the center.
Camera, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate that jump so much. The rest of the room is so fun to perform.
Because they thought they were being so clever with the camera in that room, because like you're not supposed to be in the center of the room ever. So they just kind of fixed the camera right directly in the middle of it and like pivot the camera around depending on where you are. But if you happen to jump through where the camera is sitting, then it doesn't like it very much. Thus why it's such a tricky thing to do. And then yeah, like because like your directions are influenced by the camera's like relativity as well. It's like if you're holding a direction on the control stick and then the camera shifts, that means that Mario's going to dive in a different angle now. And yeah, it messes up the whole thing. It's like very hard to get used to.
You miss Cappy and
then you fall all the way down and then you cry and you weep and you sob. And it's just not a great time.
I always be sobbing, right, homies?
Always be sobbing. Okay, all of my shots are missing. Just thought I would go right in the middle there. I thought it was like a game of bullseye. That pattern, I think, is my absolute least favorite because the hitboxes on this thing are abysmal. And you can shoot directly at one of them, but like because the hitboxes of another orb might be like overlapping a little bit, it won't count. Terrible design. But right when the Wiggler like glows up is when you're able to like kind of start hitting him and like removing some of those glowing orbs. But like as soon as he becomes vulnerable in that particular pattern, he's crossing over himself like right away. So like you get all sorts of problems. And to kind of add emphasis to like the level of optimization this game has come to, we have discovered that there are 22 patterns in the game, or 22 patterns for that Wiggler, that second cycle. 11 different spots where the Wiggler will like stop and come out of the wall, and then 2 variations for each spot. So that's 22. And there were some people who would use the practice mod and they would just like have names for each of the patterns and like try and develop the absolute most optimal strats if you were to see said patterns. It's wild, like the amount of detail that goes even into just like the silliest little boss fight. Goes back to the whole speedrunners being passionate thing we were talking about.
I'm sorry. Did you just call my Wiggler a silly thing to be passionate about?
Yeah, I'm wangling his Wiggler.
Unbelievable.
Oh my goodness, please go in the door. I would much rather be passionate about Brigadier Mollusk Lancer the Third Defender of Blame, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, he's so cool.
He's so cool.
Gosh.
A bit of a hothead, but he's pretty cool.
I thought you were going to say a bit of a hottie.
Oh.
You know,
I was gonna say words about that, but the people will get the wrong impression.
He's someone's type.
Absolutely. I can almost guarantee it.
And that person is me.
You heard it here first.
I'm a big Brigadier Mollusk fan.
Yeah, what does it for you, Adef? Do you want to share?
Oh.
Or is it just...
You know. Squids.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I feel it.
Wait, but that's not a mollusk. Is a squid a cephalopod?
Is a squid a cephalopod?
Is a squid a cephalopod? I now type in. Yes, squids are cephalopods. So are octopus.
Okay.
Wait, so then why is he called mollusk?
I mean, his name is very misleading all over the place because he's also the Dauphin of Bablaine, which is to say the Prince of Dablaine.
He's also the Brigadier, which is like a army leader.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Oh, so I need these coins because I remember missing them in Cloud Kingdom. I'm really, really glad that I remember that now and not, 2 kingdoms from now. But yeah, also Dauphin is like a French term for prince, or like the son of the king, but it like literally translates to dolphin, which is like just kind of cute.
That is such a cool strat. I have not seen that before today. Or maybe I just wasn't paying attention. But.
No, okay, we're gonna miss it again. The idea is that you're supposed to like roll cancel past that and not grab it and not just bonk on all the people along the way, but yeah. So like it's called reverse people's room. I still don't do it in most of my like serious PB attempts because stuff like that likes to happen. But it is a way that you can save about half a second if you know what you're doing.
Arthropods, bivalves, and cephalopods are all mollusks. Is that true?
There you
Wait,
go.
is mollusk a higher level of classification? Oh, mollusk is a phylum.
This is like way over my head.
Oh, okay. It is a mollusk.
Well, there you go.
He is both things. Because cephalopod is a more specific classification than mollusk.
Gotcha. I'm just going down the classification trees.
Kingdom, class, order, phylum, family, genus, species?
Family.
Family.
All right. We made it. We made it past the halfway point of the game for the first time today. Let's go.
This is not Super Mario Odyssey.
No, it is not. It is Super Mario Odyssey 2.
When are they going to announce that?
Never.
This game sold 1 bajillion copies. I would like a new 3D Mario, please.
No, you get Super Mario Bros. Wonder instead.
I mean, I'm excited about that, too.
Me too. I'm glad that they dropped the new prefix.
Yeah,
let's
get rid of that.
Yeah, not that the games themselves are bad. I actually really, really enjoy the new Super Mario Brothers games. I think they're wonderful. But if you're going to name a game new, you do have to realize that that has an expiry date eventually. Like, you can't keep calling it new when it's 20 years old. Like,
yeah, it also got some confusion because Nintendo in the late 2000s, early 2010s were so bad at naming things.
seriously.
The Wii U is a disaster.
A literal marketing disaster, yeah. I don't know how they didn't see that coming.
Meanwhile, they're like, this is New Super Mario Brothers, and then this one is New Super Mario Brothers Wii. And they're 2 different games.
Yep.
And then there's New Super Mario Brothers
U.
Another different game.
Uh-huh. Oh, no clip? I'm sad.
Oh yeah, the new 3DS. It's not that stupid old 3DS.
Yeah. Nah, this is the new one, baby.
Oh my god, if they release the new Switch, I swear to God.
Please do not. Hopefully whoever was in charge of their marketing 10 years ago is either learned a thing or two or is not in that position anymore.
I feel like at this point, they're never going to release a new console. Like, they're just content to release everything on Switch forever.
Yep.
I mean, it is like one of the highest selling consoles of all time. Like, I see people I would never expect to play video games that own a Switch.
That own a Switch, yeah. Because you can use it on the go for anything.
But, like, it's time. I would have loved for Tears of the Kingdom to be on new hardware and just look. I mean, it looks great, but I would love for it to look like unbelievable. Like, Super Mario Odyssey is the best looking Switch game. It came out 5 years ago.
Right? Yeah. But we know how Nintendo works. Like, Nintendo's next console is going to be on par, like, hardware-wise with the current generation that the other consoles are.
Right.
Like, that's just kind of how they always operate.
Yeah. They don't have to. They focus on, like, the consoles being novel rather than anything else.
And novel not in, like, the graphical capability sense. Novel in, like, the... it's kind of a... Yeah. Like, look what kind of silly things we can do with video games kind of way.
Cardboard VR.
Please go through the wall, Mario. That'd be really cool of you. And the Goomba's getting involved. Oh, no. This ledge is so weird. There we go. There it is.
Pog.
This is also something that I don't do in my current PB attempts. Like if a run is on good pace, I don't do this because, as you can see, it took me like 30 seconds to get. But
remember when the Snowdram was like, nobody could ever get that in a run.
Yep, videos with like millions of views out there that are like, is this impossible jump possible?
And now you don't even do the camera lineup anymore.
Nope, you just kind of get up on the Odyssey, you throw Cappy out, and you vector really, really hard.
You vector so hard, you'd think you were a physics student.
Yeah, that's right. I definitely did not do any calculations, but it's fine. I can pretend that I did.
I actually disagree because, and I know this is an annoying, really asinine, just dumb style point, but I think it's important. When people are like, I don't do math ever. I'm like, every time you throw a ball, you're doing math in your head. Like,
it's true.
You're doing, yeah, not literally. Like, you're not like,
if I throw it 45 degrees and 20 miles an hour, it'll fly.
But like, I mean, in the concept of like, okay, you are doing a precise calculation every time you turn your car. Like, your brain is doing wild stuff, and vectoring is no different.
Yeah, for sure. It's just, it's not with numbers, so it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah,
it's still calculating.
It's not literally math. Like, it's a very annoying point. I know that. Fully aware of that. But as somebody who tries to get people interested in math, it's one little cheat code to be like, no, you're actually doing math all the time.
That's right. You can actually and like push your glasses up a little bit.
Yeah, which is a really cool way to get people interested in stuff. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, absolutely.
Nobody loves anything more than being told that they're wrong.
Yes. Especially when actually is the first two words you use.
Mm-hmm.
Adolf, do you like fish and chips?
I do like fish and chips.
Okay, we're going to do a trick called fish and dips.
Ooh, I had great fish and chips in England last week.
That's the best place to get them, I hear.
I've been told.
I love when you look up or like pubs on a British map, and it just like colors in the whole map. Big fan of that. There we go.
Do you know what pub stands for?
Public house?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not doing a bit. Usually I'm doing a bit when I say, do you know what X stands for? But I'm not doing a bit.
Yeah, I knew that because there is a genuine like public house in the city that I live in that I would go and bring my guitar on, like, I think it was like Tuesday nights or something, and it was just like open mic night. But that somebody there told me, it's like, yeah, they're called pubs is because like this is the origin kind of them, is like people just using their open space on the main floor of their house to just host people. And that's exactly what this place was. It's pretty neat.
It is neat. It's also why so many pubs in like Ireland and England are below flats.
Yeah. Yeah. And they just live upstairs. It's like Bob's Burgers style.
Bob's Burgers style.
Yeah. You live where your business is.
A new sentence has been spoken.
Like, yeah, how would you like this building to be planned? Can we get a Bob's Burger style, please?
You've got neo-Gothic. You've got Baroque. You've got brutalism. Now,
you got Victorian.
Do you know about Bob's Burgers style?
You do now, folks. That was a not bad seaside. I take those.
Well, that's great.
Now we just have to do luncheon, chefs.
Oh boy.
You're going to have to let me cook for this one, because luncheon is a trip. If luncheon
is,
goes well, it's a miracle.
It's a word I got out on in the spelling bee when I was a kid.
Luncheon?
Yeah, I'll never forget.
Clearly.
Yeah. I'd never heard the word before. Or at the very least, I'd definitely never seen it written down.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I guessed wrong.
Do you remember how you tried to spell it?
Probably Lunchen, if I had to guess.
Luncheon, yeah. I'd be luncheon.
I've been lunching. Yo, nice.
Good. That's like one of the million hard things in this kingdom to do. So I'm glad I got that out of the way. It's also the most punishing to miss. Because if I do happen to like dip into that loading zone at all, then the fight starts and it's just GG's.
How much time does that take?
The whole route, because like obviously it changes the way
Right,
you
'cause
have
you
to play
lose
Luncheon.
moons.
Yeah, you lose the ability to get the next story moon, which loses the ability to kind of open up the kingdom and get all the way up to the meat capture where you get the multi-moon. This whole route, you basically have to change Luncheon Kingdom completely. And it saves about 10 seconds.
Don't you love gaming?
I do love gaming. And it's all to do with cutscenes. Like, this game's history of, like, improving the 80% speedrun route has all been about, like, oh, yeah, well, we still fight this boss. And when you beat this boss, like, you get 3 moons for it, but there's, like, this long cutscene that you have to sit through now. So, like, how can we change stuff that we can't optimize with stuff that we can? And that's kind of been the story of Odyssey speedrunning. Is, like, any kingdom that has any story elements, you just replace them with stuff that you can actually, you know, go faster.
Is that faster
Funky.
than the Potoboo?
You don't have the Potoboo right now because of the whole story thing. Those Potoboos actually don't spawn until you beat Spewart. So because we didn't beat Spewart, we have to do that. We have no choice.
Oh, that's kind of sad. Honestly, Potoboo is up there in top 2 captures.
I agree, yeah. The movement's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And the movement
shake
that-
and it's like... Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, luckily we do still have a little bit of Potoboo movement in this new route. It's
a
just
sub
not
area?
here. Yeah, in the sub area. It'll be like right at the end of Luncheon.
That's kind of scary.
Oh, Luncheon is terrifying at 80%. Like, you have to damage boost across the lava several times. You got to bring this turnip with you over this gap right here. But we get to cook double turnip stew, so that's kind of fun.
Yo, nice bank shot.
Yo, thanks. I thought that was going to sit on the edge like it always does. But we're cooking, chat. We're actually cooking this Luncheon Kingdom right now. That is never before seen. Luncheon does not usually go this well. Now, of
Let's
course,
go.
I've jinxed it, but
No, there's no such thing.
like, you've probably seen some of the stuff that's going on. You're like, Luncheon certainly can't get any harder than this, right? Yeah, so I got news for you.
It do
does.
be getting harder.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts about this whole route is coming up pretty soon here. Like, as you progress the story, Luncheon Kingdom like physically changes, and one of those physical changes is like raising literal platforms out of the lava. But because we haven't progressed the story, those platforms aren't going to be there. However, those platforms also feature like some coin blocks to help you traverse them, and the coin blocks for some reason do stay there. So we're going to be using those coin blocks right here. Right there, and I bonked on him. So we're going to go back, and we're going to do that again. But that's the idea, is that
This strat's disgusting.
it's ridiculous, yeah. There are ways to get across the lava, like with damage boosts, like I was doing before. But obviously not taking damage would be faster, so. There we go. I'll take that. That was a really good Luncheon Kingdom until the bonk. But, you know, like I said, having a good Luncheon Kingdom is kind of illegal, so we had to take it somewhere. But yeah, here's the Potoboos in this area here.
I love these guys. This sub area is kind of scary.
Yeah, it's definitely not like I've definitely done that little lava boost thing that I just did and like just dove right off the side before. So nothing about Luncheon Kingdom is easy or simple.
I mean, it is
In
like
this
the
new route.
last non-endgame kingdom, I guess. in a lot
That's
of
true.
ways.
I guess if it's going to be hard, at least it's like at the end.
Yeah.
Because it's scaling the game well, I guess.
This game has a good
Also,
difficulty curve.
Yeah, I would say so. Okay, Mario, thanks for that. Should I insert another obligatory that's never happened before? Or because I can do that.
Please do it.
Oh my god, that he said the thing.
That's not the name of Foo's show anymore, so...
Oh, what is the name of Foo's show now?
You know... You think you know someone. Out of Bounds. You know, I knew that, but I second-guessed myself.
Out of Bounds. That kind of makes more sense, though.
It does,
like,
and I think it's a good change.
Because her show's about, like, glitches and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's about, like, glitch showcase, whereas I think the problem they were running into is, like, she sort of felt like that's never happened before. While a fun name for the show, for sure. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's, you know, identifying the big GDQ meme, I think isn't truly, you know, an emblemification or whatever of, like, what is going on.
Right. Yeah, I would agree to that. That's never happened before would be kind of a nicer name for, like, maybe introducing like a new speed game, or maybe a game has introduced some tech that's like completely changed it or something like that.
Well, that's interesting. I was thinking you just bring people on and they make a bunch of mistakes.
That's also fun. I was like, what is the absolute worst case scenario for this run? What could go wrong? Show me. I want to see it.
We should do a Challenger approaching episode of slow runs.
Oh boy.
Like,
you just never
how
ended the
slow-
show.
How slow can you beat a game?
I mean,
Have you seen Cosmic's YouTube video about beating SMB1 as slow as possible?
yeah, because that game actually has like time limits and stuff in it. So
Right, and he made some limitations, like you can't farm lives, like you can't die.
right,
Because if you could die, you could just play forever.
infinitely, yeah.
And it's a really interesting, like he does some stuff that I would not have thought of. Including like you get as many power-ups and take damage as many times as possible because the timer freezes when you
Right.
take damage.
And I guess like going in and out of loading zones would also.
You try to take pipes like as often as possible.
Yeah, because if there was ever a part in the game that like let you loop, or like if you came out of a pipe close enough to the place where you entered it, you could just kind of keep going and doing that forever. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But for a game like this that has no timer, you just stand there forever.
We should do that, is what I'm saying.
And welcome to the show. We're going to play Super Mario Odyssey as slow as possible. And okay, the run has begun. And we're just sitting here.
Maybe an April Fool's episode.
Yeah, that's a great idea. 3 hours of Mario sitting in Cap Kingdom while Cappy has run ahead, desperately begging for help.
And we just do commentary as if the run is still going.
That's right. Yeah. Explaining tricks that are going to be coming up eventually.
Okay, so coming up here in a second. Oh, nice
Yeah,
pause.
so that cap tower in the distance. Yeah, if you just you can see it, right?
It's
You
just
get
out
up
of
that cap tower.
you don't want to do the tricks; they're scary.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to get there and have to do it.
It's much more safe down here.
That's what I'm saying.
My cat has come to say hello, by the way.
Kitten.
She's very aggressively screaming.
One person
Okay.
said, I would watch that, and the next person said, don't do that.
There are two types of people.
a little disagreement in the chat room.
I'm pretty sure this is how Captain America Civil War started.
It's exactly how the real Civil War started.
Absolutely true. Historical facts.
The fact that in America we call it the Civil War is kind of hilarious because like so many countries have had civil wars.
It's
which
so
I
in
guess-
line with America, though. in
Yeah,
my
I guess
humble opinion.
I don't know. I haven't learned history of other countries from within those countries. Maybe like if there's a civil war in you know, I don't know, X country, maybe they just call theirs the Civil War the same way. I don't know. Yeah, everybody else calls it the American Civil War, but not us.
That's true.
I don't know. Anybody else in a country where there was a civil war a long time ago? Do you just call it the Civil War?
Let me know in the comments.
Let me know in the comments. Are you in a state that has a civil war?
All right. I actually really like Bowser's Kingdom as well. Mm-hmm. The pacing is a little bit slow, but that's kind of nice because every section is like ludicrously hard, so I don't mind that. And also mandatory, like this shard section not just reveals a story moon, but also opens up the rest of the kingdom, so you have to do it. There we go.
Yeah, even the words the American Civil War is funny because we're not even the only country in the Americas that's had a civil war.
Yeah, right. Oh, time lost ram. You hate to see that.
Nah, Europe is busy naming all their wars numbers.
Yeah.
The 7 Years' War. The 7 Weeks' War.
It just lasted this long. Doesn't need the place isn't.
This is how long it was, idiot. This is what happened.
What else are we gonna call it?
Yeah, I don't know. This is how long it was. So
you can't call it the French War because there have been 100 of those.
Right. So and they all took place in the same place. So.
Yep.
And we don't really want to say this is the war between these two people, so we'll just say how long it was. And then if there's another war that's 7 years long, too bad. Call it the 7 Years' War 2.
Yeah. The thrilling sequel.
The War of the Roses is a good name. If we're rating the naming of bloody wars.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like having like. Obviously, a lot of these things are terrible, terrible tragedies, but they are then named something just so badass, and you wonder, did they do that on purpose? Like, I think about like the Night of the Long Knives, for example. Like, that is just a badass name for something. Tragic, but badass. Am I allowed to say ass on the show?
I don't know. I said damn and hell earlier, so
okay.
We're in uncharted waters.
And yeah, you wangled your wingle or whatever earlier too, so there's that.
It's fine. Yeah, there do be things in history with just cool names.
They just really do be. All right.
Like,
second half of Bowser's Kingdom coming up. I'm going to do a thing that I'm probably going to fail, but if it goes well, then it'll look really cool. So.
You're not going to fail it.
Okay. Let's so basically the thing that I'm going to try to do, we're going to get a moon that's in behind the crates up ahead, and if we can, usually you're just supposed to take the pipe to get out. That's like the way the game wants you to do it, but I'm going to try and like escape through the entrance that I made. It's a very difficult movement though, so we'll see how it goes. There's opening there. Hopefully we can get good position here. Not exactly how I wanted to do it, but I guess that'll work.
How much time does that save?
Well, I mean, with good movement, this is not. But
sure,
with good movement, you can save about 1.5 seconds. Because, like, the pipe transition is, like, you kind of, like, have the camera pan up to the top of the stage again, and then very slowly the pipe comes into view, and then you escape it. So if you have really good movement, you can save about 1.5 seconds doing that. But I was a little bit flimsy there. That's okay.
Best boss fight in all of Mario speedrunning.
This one up here?
It's just cool.
I love it, yeah. I love that it is not just... Like, Mario's done this before, where it's like platforming, but also fighting, I guess. But the way speedrunners do it almost takes it like to another level.
This fight has also just evolved in such interesting ways.
Yeah. The beginner strat is typically to like grab the bird and do at least the first hit by like the normal means, rather than like climbing up like I just did, and then trying your best to stay on so that you can ground pound all the rest of the bubbles. But even then, like that's how we originally did it. But yeah, it's just come so far. This is like the most recent optimization here, just like a single dive to get back like that, whereas before we used to do 2. Very clean, yeah. Usually when you're on PB pace, this is one of the like most nerve-wracking parts, because like all of that is extremely precise. You can't really mess up any of it, or else you fall down and lose like 20 seconds. So kind of nice to have gotten that. I'm down. I'm feeling good going into Moon Kingdom, where the hardest trick still awaits us.
Yay!
Let's go.
Let's go.
Remember earlier when I said green button about the N64A button?
Yeah.
I just looked to my right and there's an N64 controller 6 inches from me.
Just sitting right there.
Mm-hmm.
That blue button staring you right in the face.
It's on my desk right next to my mouse.
It's okay. Colors are hard.
It is.
Speaking of like different countries and stuff, I've learned, it was a YouTube video that popped up a little while ago. But like, we have a concept of color that we think is like really rudimentary, and like we have explanatory words for a lot of different colors, but you can go into like different languages and they can have like far fewer or sometimes far greater. Like, I guess there are some African languages that only have a definitive word for like 2 or 3 colors, and the rest are like offshoots trying to explain the difference.
Like how we would say
colors.
like sky blue to talk about a different blue.
To like a lighter blue, for example, right? So like instead of having red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, they might only have red and blue, and everything else is like a derivative of that.
Hell
which kind of
yeah.
makes sense, like warm and cold.
I love that. Man, screw having descriptive. Just get it out of there. This one's red, that one's blue. Life would be simpler.
This one is like red a little bit, but in this direction. That we'll count that.
Blue 5. You know what?
Blue.
Let's stop talking about colors with names. Let's go to like the Sherwin-Williams color palette swatch index.
I love that.
I love 45B. That one's so good.
My favorite blue. It's like somehow more specific though. So it makes sense.
Yeah. True.
Classic trick coming up right here. Day 1, baby.
Day 1, baby. Except you're doing a harder version.
That's true. Yeah, that version was developed probably within the last year. I think people started doing it like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. The one wall jump variation. And then we just have the escape and the fabled 2DSS trick. I remember, okay, Bowser, where are you going? Excuse me, we were supposed to have a little conversation.
Have a little intimate moment.
Yeah, instead he's throwing rocks.
Sorry, if you're punching, the fire can't hit you.
Oh, I rolled over them. So all of the fire that you see, including Bowser's breath, is literally just a ground scan. And when you roll, you like kind of hop up in the air,
really?
right? Yeah, like... Okay, I missed it that time, but yeah, you can like literally just roll over it.
That is comical. That's so dumb.
I don't know why it's like that, because it is very big and imposing, but maybe it was just easier to program that way.
They were tired.
Yeah, they were so EP.
Don't bring that in here.
All right. I was not able to do 2DSS at GDQ when I showcased it last month, so hopefully my several weeks of practice will allow me to show it off I will try to stay conscientious of time so that I don't try too many times. But
For those wondering, 2DSS stands for two-dimensional skip.
yes, or 2D section skip if you're. My phone.
Oh, you're getting a phone call.
Hold on a second.
Just take it.
It's okay. I actually know what the phone call's for, so it's just like my door. I have some food coming. I was not able to go get food because I'm going to be streaming pretty soon, so that's just delivery. But so please hold.
It's not delivery. It's
Delicio.
It's
of course.
DiGiorno.
Oh, right. The third one. What is the difference between Delicio and DiGiorno anyway?
I don't even know what Delicio is. Is that a Canadian thing?
Today I learned it is.
Well, it might not be. I might just be stupid. But let's not rule that out.
I don't know. I feel like Delicio is the one that I know more. Okay, Bowser, there's a ledge there. I would like you to stand on it, please.
This trick,
okay.
It makes more sense that this is called 2D section skip. That makes more sense.
Yes. Yeah.
But there is a 2D skip that this skips.
Which is why it was named that. Oh, come on. Robbery. Oh, well, there he goes. Okay. Well,
goodbye, Mario.
By Bowser, Mario, Peach as well on
Everybody's
the shoulder.
dead. Everybody's freaking dead. Because tragedy in the Mushroom Kingdom.
All three of its iconic denizens have been
What stories
missing on the moon.
What stories will we tell now that our heroes and villains are all deceased?
That's it. That's the end. Everything else was boring after that.
Toads and Koopas decided to live in harmony because there was nothing better to do.
That's right. Why don't we just get along? The end.
Can't we all just get along?
Why are you missing that one, though? I don't understand. Okay, we'll give it one more go. I said we'll give it one more go. Okay, well.
I still don't understand what's happening here.
Basically, and you're going to see it as I go through this 2D section.
Oh, it's the things that fall down.
This area is made up of chunks that start falling away. Yeah. And each of those has their own collision, as it turns out. So only in certain places can Bowser actually, because Bowser's standing hitbox is gigantic. I don't know if you noticed at the beginning of the escape sequence, but I'm basically just walking on air because his toe on his left foot is fine enough to keep walking.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah, so his walking hitbox is huge, just huge. So I guess it's huge enough that in some places it can just kind of clip into the wall and Bowser can just kind of stand there. So we use that to our advantage. There's enough of them going all the way up the entire 2D section that you can just kind of jump over it. And if you do get it on the first try, it saves 7 seconds from going on the inside, but it is genuinely one of the most difficult tricks in the game. And it's right at the end. And a lot of people at top level now have it in their personal bests, and it is 7 seconds that is kind of unavoidable. Like I said at the beginning, it's a trick that I've gotten under pressure 4 times in a row on my PB attempts because I needed it to PB and I just happened to get it. So, but here we are. We've arrived at the end.
GG Dangers, any final thoughts?
As always, thank you GDQ, thank you ADEF, thank you Ray for hosting. It's always a delight, always a pleasure to be on these GDQ hotfix shows. A little bit more kind of offbeat from the regular GDQ, but still super fun to kind of show off the thing that I'm passionate about, like we were talking about earlier. So if this has at all piqued your interest on Super Mario Odyssey speedrunning, I would say that this is one of the easiest games to get into for 2 reasons. One, it's a pretty simple game to play, and there's a million different ways to play it, so it's really easy to get into. And 2, the community is massive. We're talking 3,800 any percent speedruns have been submitted to the leaderboards on speedrun.com. 3,800, and that's just any percent. So lots of people have given this game a try, and lots of people have come across this as a hobby, and therefore lots of people have contributed to the resources and stuff that exists for this game. So if you are at all interested, it is genuinely one of the easiest things to kind of pick up and go with if you wanted to. Lots of people are very helpful in the Discord and stuff like that too. So and like I said, if you want to continue watching me do PB attempts, I'm going to go eat the food that just arrived, and then I'm going to be on my own channel doing some more. So you're welcome to stop by. thank you very much again, you guys, for having me on the show.
Yeah, everybody go follow Dangers. This has been PB Precipice. Again, PB Precipice is now every first Sunday of the month, so I won't see you again until August 6th, but I also do Challenger Approach News every other Friday, so you'll see me. I've been ADEF. Thank you so much for watching. Really quickly, if you missed out on any of SGDQ 2023 or our Juneteenth celebration, be sure to check out the VODs at youtube.com/GamesDoneQuick and stick around. This is not the end of the speedrunning content on the GDQ Twitch channel today. In just a few minutes, we're going to throw to a quick break to set things up and then jump on over to an amazing Nintendo Direct themed special event starting with Pikmin 2 and then Pokemon Scarlet and Violet after that. So amazing speedrunning still to come. That'll be hosted by good friend Etchy. So gamers, thank you so much for watching. I've been ADEF. You can find me as ADEF. Okay, bye-bye.